Eagles. Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Tuesday edition of Birds 365. Just a couple of days out from the 2025 NFL Draft. We're here with you on Birds 365 today from 8 to 10, as we are every weekday. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mac, John McMullen. John, how you doing on this Tuesday morning, brother, as we inch closer to the NFL Draft? I'm ready for this draft.
Yeah,
I'm just telling you, pre-show, man, I'm ready.
Inch sounds like a good description. Yeah, I'm limping along trying to get to this damn thing. Can we just start it? Let's just start it right now. Roger Goodell.
I'm with you. Start rolling out the picks. Let's do it. But 2 days out. What do we got? Yeah, 2 days out, 2 days and 2.5 days out. This draft will start Thursday night at 8 p.m., which means for the Philadelphia Eagles, who are sitting at 32 as it stands right now, will probably make their selection just short of midnight. So we got a long night ahead of us once that night comes. But it is good stuff. John, in Eagles news, though, we did get a piece of news this week. Cam Jurgens gets the extension yesterday, a 4-year, $68 million deal with nearly $40 million guaranteed. An order of business that we expected to get done. But I do think there were a couple of people out there who, hey, maybe had a little concern on the back. I was one of those people. Not that I didn't think Cam would ever be back in Philly, but, I knew the contract was coming. So what does that mean with the back injury? Obviously, the Eagles would know more about the back, and now that they gave the contract, I feel pretty good about the back because they checked that box off. But your initial reaction to the Cam Jurgens news, locking down another big piece of that offense and that offensive line?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, backs can be tricky. We talked about that when he was undergoing surgery and playing through it. But, once you sign that deal, that's a clear indication that the Eagles medical staff has written and, signed off on it. So, I don't have any issues from that perspective. Very clearly, they're comfortable. And this is one of the players they've been talking about all offseason when they intimate what they're doing. He was the first one because he's first one eligible. And Nakobe Dean is also eligible, but, he has more significant injury questions, so that will pause it for at least a while. Plus the position, all that kind of stuff. He wasn't as considered as high level for an extension as Cam Jurgens. So we talked about this demarcation line. Cam's above it. Dallas Goedert's probably below it. CJ Gardner-Johnson definitely below it. You could make your assumptions on if that should be the case, but it's what the Eagles believe in. They talk about it all the time, ad nauseum. In fact, Cam, I pointed out in one of my stories on SI, I pointed out he's literally the poster child, because Howie literally said it, because there was so much backlash when they drafted him at 51 overall. Everybody wanted Nakobe Dean. I was doing the show with Jody. Jody's a big Nakobe Dean guy, and everybody was gaslighted for months. This is a first-round pick. This is a first-round pick, Nakobe Dean. And all of a sudden, he starts to fall, and he's sitting there for the Philadelphia Eagles, who obviously need linebackers and blah. And people were incensed because Cam Jurgens wasn't going to play. Jason Kelce was still an all-pro center. And they were incensed. And Howie went up there and said, look, we had two players on our board, Cam Jurgens, and they were deciding between Cam Jurgens and Nakobe Dean. And Howie flat out said, if it's even, we're picking the offensive lineman or the defensive lineman. That's how we roll. That's his exact quote. That's how we roll. And they ultimately ended up getting Nakobe Dean anyway at number 83, I believe. So in a lot of ways, Cam is the poster child for Howie pointing out, guys, this is what we do. And at this stage, I don't know how anybody can debate that they do it the right way. The people like sexier positions all the time. It's boring, especially when it's a luxury pick. And you have an all-pro player in place, a future Hall of Famer, and he's not going to play. He didn't play his rookie season. He didn't play until his second season, and he played right guard, and then he moved inside. But how about that? You think about replacing a 6-time All-Pro, a future Hall of Famer, one of the best centers who ever lived. How do you replace that? You make the Pro Bowl, you win a Super Bowl, and you get a 4-year, $68 million extension, which is more than Jason Kelce ever made, because that's the way the NFL works. It's Cam's turn, number 2 in the NFL behind Creed Humphrey, but well-deserved.
No doubt about it. Big stuff there for Cam Jurgens. I agree with you completely on it, John. But I do wonder, man. I do wonder. The first thing I think about, and I'm happy for Cam. I do think he's well deserved. But boy, that's a lot of money, man, on that offensive line and that offense. We talk about what's coming in the future, and again, we don't have to live in the future right now. Right now, the Eagles aren't trading AJ Brown. They're not moving anything, but another guy paid on the offense, another guy paid on the offensive line with those defensive contracts coming up. Boy, that's a lot of money, John, on the offense. I am very curious to see what the Philadelphia Eagles do, not just now, but in the next 12 to 18 months to manage what's going to be a big turnover in their roster and their cap and where they spend their money. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, because the reality is you do got a lot of guys under contract on offense.
Yeah, they do, but those are the veteran guys, and those are the guys who are up. So, like, I think a lot of people don't understand. Like, I got a lot of people like, Jalen Carter's next. Well, he is next, but he's not next until next season. After next season, he's not eligible for an extension. I think a lot of people don't understand that. This was the first time Cam Jurgens was eligible for an extension after his 3rd season. Jalen Carter's got to get to the end of his 3rd season. Then he's eligible. Nolan Smith, he's eligible after next season. And then you look a couple years down the road with Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, players like that. It's going to even out if those players continue at their trajectory, which I think we're pretty sure Jalen Carter's going to. And if the other players continue at their trajectories, they're going to get paid big time money. And then you're going to see some attrition on the offensive side, whether it comes from salary cap casualties, whether it comes from trades, whether it becomes more realistic to say, can we really pay AJ Brown, Devontae Smith? You can now, because you don't have to pay anybody on defense for the most part. It started a little bit with Zach Bond as a veteran player, but yeah, it's going to even out. It's coming. But, Howie's very savvy. He doesn't have to worry about it right now.
Right.
So he's building up the side of the ball that he has to build up, that he has to pay. And they're very young on defense.
Yep.
And they're very good. And they're taking advantage of it. That's what they should be doing.
The other thing that I think that's out there, maybe you can bring some more clarity to this, but, Jalen Carter's going to get paid next summer. I think a lot of people immediately think, okay, he's going to have $40 million next year. When you pay a guy, specifically in the case of Jalen Carter, or the most recent one would be Devontae Smith, a high draft pick, then you pick him up, you extend, you add in the 5th-year option, which is what I think they're going to do with Jalen Carter. Typically, that cap hit's not crazy in those first year or two. So if you pay Jalen Carter next year, if you pay Nolan Smith next year, is there a chance that they actually lessen their cap hit in that particular year? And then you can kind of maybe buy one more year until you need to make maybe a big sweeping decision. Is that fair to say, or how do you see that part of it?
Yeah, generally, even Cam, who's not, if you'll notice he's now under contract through 2029, which means they rolled in the final year of his rookie contract and then gave him a 4-year extension. So yeah, typically that's what they do, is to help out with the salary cap. Now they get a crap load of money up front, but that doesn't, I think a lot of people don't understand that's why and then they'll have voidable years on the back end to help with the cap. And that's how they sort of mitigate that. The first couple of years of Jalen Hurts' contract were ridiculously low from a salary cap standpoint. When people heard, highest paid player in the history of football, blah, blah, blah. Oh, what's that going to do to the cap? Not much until a couple of years. Now it does. But Yeah, that's generally how they do it. And that's, again, go back to Jeffrey Lurie. Jeffrey, like a lot of owners, wouldn't let the Eagles have the more dead money than anybody else, um, because of all those voidable years. And a lot of owners would cut that off. I would say the vast majority would. The Eagles, so Jeffrey deserves, from a fan base perspective, he deserves a tip of the cap because he's not worried about paying people. He's already paid. That money's already gone. I think a lot of people don't understand. You already paid the money. It's just going to hurt your cap situation down the road. But the Eagles are playing this game where they know the cap's going up every year. And unless there's another pandemic, it ain't going down. So they're factoring that in. It's keep going up and up and up. And all these new deals and these TV deals and the escalating TV rights, they understand where the cap is going. So
Yeah, they're going to have another $50 million to spend within 2 years on the cap.
exactly. So, I mean, I think a lot of people are slaves of the moment. What are they going to do? What are they going to? It's going up right there. It's like, nobody gets 20% raises, but
Right.
if you had that in your back pocket, you could, if you felt like financially planning, you could plan for that. And the Eagles kind of plan for understanding what's coming better than most, to say the least.
Yep, no doubt about it, Johnny Mac. John, a couple days out here from the NFL draft. I think everybody's jacked up. I've been running through the PFF simulator, doing some mock drafts, starting to look. And that's not a perfect indication or even anything close, but there's two names that keep sitting down there at 32, and James Pierce is one of them. Now, I don't know if James is going to be there, but what do you think of a player like James Pierce, John, in the first round? Does he excite you? Do you think he's the right fit for the Eagles? He's a guy that kind of excelled in college. Was just a lot better than the dudes. He was running around everybody. I don't know how well his game will translate to the NFL, but what do you think of a guy like James Pierce in round one? I am maybe foreshadowing my Eagles only mock that will be coming out soon.
I haven't. I don't love him because he's undersized. But I mean, that's a lot of what the Eagles do these days. And I keep wondering when that comes back to bite them a little bit. I've talked about Scorton for that reason. Get a little bit of size on the defense. When you start talking about Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt and Azeez Ojulari, and then you're adding in another undersized guy, it's like at some point somebody's going to wake up and say, "Hey, why don't we run the edge on this team?" At some, maybe it doesn't happen, and maybe it looks great like it did last year. But I think at some point somebody's going to wake up and realize what's going on. I don't like it. Now, I also think he's not going to be there. I find it very hard to believe somebody that productive in college. So most of it is I don't think he's going to be there. Now, there's so many good edge rushers in this draft. It becomes what's your favorite flavor. Everybody's not looking for an edge rusher. They maybe should be, but so that's where you get these big ranges that Daniel Jeremiah was talking about. So I could see Pierce going 15 or whatever and going 32. He's one of those guys. Azaraku's the same thing. Mike Green, the same thing. Shamar Stewart, the same thing. Now, Stewart, to me, is at least has the crazy athleticism, the crazy traits that if you can, and certainly, Jeremiah Washburn's one of the guys that the Eagles believe in that can develop players. So I'm starting to get a lot of, as we get late in the process, a lot of Walter Nolans, a lot of Shamar Stewarts.
I have a feeling Walter Nolan's going top 20.
Oh, I agree. I don't think he's going to be there, but I'm talking about the players the Eagles like.
Right.
And even the kid from UCLA, like I'm getting a lot of Oladipo.
Really,
I'm like,
I've seen him falling a little bit on. I mean, just on mock. Again, mocks are mocks. That's what they are. They're fake. But
yeah,
I have seen him fall. I don't know where he'll go, but
yeah, I think he's going to go much higher than people expect.
you think
Because
like a
I'm with you.
round two, or you think like a sneaking into round one?
I'm talking potentially sneaking in the round one,
Okay.
at worst early round two. And I'm with you, like, personally, but I would not have the guts to take a player like that. You got to have guts to take a player. And the Eagles have guts, number one, and number two, they also have some, capital in the bank to use, like, hey, you know, we're pretty good at this. Shut up. That type of thing. I'm just saying. I've been hearing that name a lot over the past couple of days. And I think you already have that player in Jalen Hunt, but I've been hearing it a lot, and that more so the theme. I always talk about themes. They're looking for high upside players. Nolan, huge upside. Stewart, huge upside. Oladipo, huge upside. And that's why I'm souring on Scourton for the Eagles, because he's more safe. I guess I'm safer than they are. But I keep that. I think they're swinging for the fences and saying, "Well, we're picking at 32. Who cares? Let's swing for the fences." That's my feeling as we get closer.
Let's see what they end up doing here. We're going to have Jeff Kerr join us today here on Birds 365. Again, what are we, 2 days and 12 hours? So we're, 60 hours out from the NFL draft here. So it's coming up very quickly. We gave you guys the rundown on all of the top 30 visits. John said the Walter Nolan talk is heightening. I don't know where you'd have to go to get Walter, John. Do you have to go top 20? Is Minnesota at 24 the sweet spot? I mean, the more I do this, the more I look at the draft in the top round. Like, I see why you're saying, oh, Tyler Warren's going top 10. There's not that many players up there.
No, there is.
Like, he's going to go. Jetty might go 4. He
Yeah,
could go
well,
to the Patriots. I wouldn't do that if I were the Patriots, but I could see them doing it.
There's a lot of people talking about Genty. I think they're trying to take advantage of Ryan Poles.
Yeah.
I really do.
You mean to get him to trade up?
Yeah.
I could see that.
The Bears badly want Genty, and the Raiders are trying to get him to come up, and even Jacksonville now. And you bring up New England. I haven't heard as much with New England, but New England's in kind of a no man's land. Even now, I mean, there's talk that Cleveland will ship to Carter. So now we're in the full-blown silly season, and the Giants supposedly don't like Hunter as much. Giants probably get screwed again. But sometimes I feel bad for the Giants. I know Eagles fans don't, but I think it would be hilarious to see what happens if the Cleveland does go Abdul Carter, because I don't think they want Travis Hunter. And I don't think they would.
If I were Cleveland, I would take Abdul Carter, to be blunt. I mean, I wouldn't.
Well, I would take Abdul Carter number
off.
1. I would take him number 1 over Cam Ward.
Yeah.
I'd take it. He's the best player in the draft. For me, there's some injury issues. I get that part of it, but there's another guy. I forget who did. I think Albert Breer did his annual quarterbacks. Man, this quarterback class is not liked in the league. It is not liked. Either that or everybody's talking to the same guy. But he I believe had Ward number 7 in last year's class. The guy Breer was talking to. 7. Which I think my guy had him 6th, not quite 7th. And the same thing you hear, Sanders. I mean, there's a chance Pittsburgh takes him. New Orleans isn't taking him. The Giants aren't taking him. If Pittsburgh doesn't take him, there's a good chance he's going in the second round. Or somebody's coming up late with the Eagles or somebody to get him late in the round.
Yeah, and I got a feeling that people aren't going to want to move into the back of the first round. I got a feeling they're going to want to move to the top of the second round to draft these quarterbacks if they do fall. The Milrose, I can't believe you think Dart's going not top 10 potentially. I mean, what happened? What news came out about Jackson Dart?
Well, no,
what have you been told that this guy is going top 10?
Well, remember when you hear this guy's moving up the board, I love Bill Pauline because, Bill just blows it all up. He's like, that's bullshit. Nobody's moving up. Nobody's moving down. We're getting information.
Right.
It's not like the personnel people are waking. Oh, no, it's been that way the whole time. People are starting to figure out that NFL people like Jackson Dart a little bit better than they do. And Tyler Shuck is in that same category. I think New Orleans is begging off. I don't think he's going to go top 10. But if New Orleans takes a quarterback, it's going to be Dart. It's not going to be Sanders. I don't think they're taking a quarterback. Now, they might draft up, as you said. They might move up in the end of the first round. They might take him in the second round. I'm not saying they're not taking a quarterback. They're just not taking quarterback in the top 10 is my feeling now. But if they do, it would be Dart. And then Pittsburgh at 21, they need a quarterback. They badly need a quarterback. I think they're willing to take a quarterback. I think Dart is number one. Could be wrong. This is just what I'm hearing from people out there. Milroe, number 2. Sanders, number 3. In the Steelers.
Who was that? Who did you say that was for?
Steelers.
The Steelers?
I think they would like Dart, then Milroe, then Sanders. And maybe even Shuck before Sanders. And then you start talking about, I think Cleveland would take him with their second pick. So I think his floor is now whatever Cleveland is, 34, I guess.
Yeah. 33 actually. Yeah, they're
33. Yeah, so I think they take him there. I think that's his floor, but there's a good chance he gets there. At least 50-50. But it's favorite flavor. Somebody, if Pittsburgh is floating shit out there to get people off and say, well, we can get Sanders at 33, Cleveland. Don't worry about it. There's all that subterfuge as well.
What do you think the chances of Jalen Milroe going in the first round are? I can't see.
Well, again, I talked about the Eagles with defensive players that they're looking at upside. He's got the biggest upside in this draft by far.
I'm wondering if Jalen Hurts convinced Kellen Moore to go with the dual threat approach. Jalen Milroe, John, when I read the scouting reports on Jalen Milroe, you could literally replace his name with Jalen Hurts, and that's what it sounds like coming out of college. That's what it sounds like to me.
Boy,
great athlete, struggles with some accuracy, not a polished passer yet, but that's what I see.
Well, I don't see it at all from the standpoint of this guy's got like Lamar Jackson athleticism.
Right, so it's better than Hurts' athletic.
Yeah. But Hurts was way above Milroe as a passer coming out, just from his year at Oklahoma. Oklahoma, was really throwing the football all over the place. So he improved a lot from Alabama to Oklahoma. Like he's way ahead of Jalen Milroe. That's the part. Jalen Milroe is so raw. So you have to have extreme confidence in your ecosystem. First of all, better damn well be an offensive head coach. And you better have people that can teach the position. Because he's more like Anthony Richardson, I would say, than Jalen Hurts. Just completely raw from a passing standpoint, but he's got a massive arm. and his athleticism is just off the freaking charts. So if you can figure it out and you can teach him and you can develop him, he's got way more upside than Cam Ward or anybody else in this draft. So that's what you're sort of weighing with. But like what I talked to the Eagles and like Oladipo. Now, that's what you're talking about from a defensive perspective. Like, he's probably got way more upside than the best. There's a lot of good edge rushers. It's not the same as quarterback, but he's got tremendous upside. But he's so raw. That's what you're sort of betting on if you want Jalen Milroe, that you can develop him, because he's not ready to play at all. But, I mean, he is. And when I say by far the most physically gifted quarterback in this draft class, I mean by leaps and bounds. He's got the biggest arm. He's the best athlete from just a pure physical traits. By far, number one.
If he's there at 64, will the Eagles consider it, John?
No, I don't think so.
Are you sure?
Well, they did it once, but no. I mean,
It worked out, man. It worked out well.
I think it did work out well, but I think they're savvy enough to have learned from it. They weren't, again, that was not the plan. So
no, I know.
everybody
throwing it out there. Yeah.
So, at that point, they wanted a more cost-effective backup, similar to what they're doing this year, for a longer period of time. So they didn't have to pay $5 million a year for a backup quarterback. And, they were full on board with Carson Wentz. And, in hindsight, you can rip Carson Wentz. That's fair. But that was not the Eagles' plan. And it ruined him. And you could say he's not mentally strong enough, and you can make all those arguments, but it did. At the end of the day, it ruined him. And that was not what the Eagles wanted. But that's what happened. And they were able, and that's what the Eagles do well. I always talk about contingencies. And then they shifted gears. A lot of people forget when Nick Sirianni was interviewing for this job, the whole interview was about, how are you going to fix Carson?
Yeah, his first couple press conferences were talking about, what the plan was with Carson.
Yeah. Yeah, people there's a lot of revisionist history, man. I mean, after Jalen's first season was they were looking around. They were looking for a quarterback. They were not sold. And he did a pretty good job as a first-year starter, making the playoffs, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, it ended poorly in Tampa. But overall, when you say first-year starter, it's pretty solid season. And they were like, nah, but what they did say at that point, what he did, it was like, all right, we're going to swing for the fences with two names that people laugh about now, but they believed in very, very strongly at that point. And if we didn't get that, then we were going to do everything we can to develop Jalen Hurts, which is what happened and worked out.
It certainly did work out. We're going to see how this draft falls here. I just talked to Jeff Kerr. He's having a little computer issues, but he'll be with us hopefully in a couple of minutes here. So we'll talk to Jeff Kerr. In hour number 2 today, we are going to do a fun exercise. I'm going to make Johnny Mac do it. He'll enjoy it though. It'll be good. We're going to do a simulated draft, John. Now, I'm not doing any trades. There's no trade. You know what? It's one of my pet peeves, John. It's one thing to do a mock draft. It's another thing to do a mock draft and speculate trades. I'm like, what you're now gonna guess on what team's gonna send what to go where. So I don't do any of that. I like to just pick where the team is, and we're gonna do that. So we don't know how the board will fall when we do the simulator. PFF kind of fills them all in depending on what things you choose, and we'll do and see who John would take where depending on who falls. So that'll be interesting to do. We'll do that later on in hour number 2. Let's get to a couple super chats right now. Rashid, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Rashid says, good morning, guys. Even though Jalen Carter is eligible after his 3rd year, do you think the Eagles will extend him then or after the 4th year? Reed B is next. Or Reed B next?
With the timing's a little different on Reed because he was undrafted, but with Jalen, yes, they're going to extend him after next year, as early as possible.
Yeah, that price is just going to get too big too quick. They got to get that thing
now. Will Jalen again? Two-way street. We just went through this with Milton Williams. The Eagles wanted to extend Milton Williams. He was like, no. They're probably, and I don't know what the numbers are, but probably 8 million, 10 million. And he knew, and he's getting good advice. And he said, look, Fletcher retired. You're going to get more of an opportunity to play. People are going to see what kind of player you are. You got a chance to make a lot of money. And he made a lot of money.
Well, to be fair, not everybody that bets on themselves wins because Milton performed at a very high level. Yeah,
of course not. You could lose. You could play poorly. It's a
hurt.
gamble.
Yeah, it's
now in the case of Jalen Carter, it's different because they're not going to lowball Jalen Carter. So, whenever he signs, he's going to be the highest paid defensive tackle in the history of football. However, if he wants to maximize it, and I don't know why you would, but I just got to throw it out there because in his case, it's better to have the security and get the $40 million deal, even though if he waited another year, it'd probably be 45. Like at that point, who cares? You got the security, but I have to throw it out there because it's a possibility.
No doubt about it. Interesting draft here coming up for the NFL. I'm very curious to see what the NFC East does as well, John. The Giants are sitting at 3, and then I think their round 2 pick, I think, is like 33 or 34. So we will see what happens there with the Giants, the Cowboys sitting at 12, and then the Commanders at 29. It's going to be very interesting to see what the NFC East looks like after this NFL draft, but I do think everyone else has a better chance to improve their team than the Eagles do, just because of where we're sitting in this draft. I mean, there's a chance, John, that all of the players that we talk about in the round 1 are gone by the time we get to 32 if the Eagles don't move up. There is a chance.
I don't think there is because I think at this point we've talked about 67. I joke. That's what DJ put. Oh, this guy's a first-round pick. This guy's everybody thinks everybody's. So if you add them up, now, I think we're way over 30. We're always way over 32.
Yeah, we are. No, we are. But like I did one last night, and it's like all the guys who are left. And I'm not saying these are bad players, but Trey Amos was left.
First round pick.
But would you take him at 32? I know he's a first round pick.
No.
Would you take him?
I'm joking.
Connerly, maybe they would take him. Benjamin Morrison was there. I mean, these are good players. Are they Eagles players? The only edge left when I did that was Landon Jackson. I'm like, what the? The Eagles are going to want a better edge now. I like Landon Jackson, but I don't think they like him as their top pick in the NFL draft.
No.
I think this is going to be very interesting to see how it.
Edge, and that's why we talk about edge because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going down the list. 7 potential first round picks. Are all 7 going to go? Maybe. They are probably deserving of it. I think Scorton will ultimately be the one to fall out. But I think the other 6 are going to go. I mean, they're probably going to go. And, depending on what you believe of the kid from Georgia, he might be an edge rusher, but most people list him as a linebacker. So he would be the 7th, Jalen Walker. This is a good draft for edge rushers. And the Eagles need an edge rusher. So in theory, they have a better chance at 32 than most years to get a player at a position they want a player at.
Right.
So I think from that standpoint, it's actually good for the Eagles.
You think it's a multiple edge rusher kind of draft? Do you think they'll take?
Yeah, they might carpet bomb it.
Yeah, I could see it too. I could see it. I could actually see them doing what they did last year in secondary and just go back to back, 1-2 if the board falls the right way. Good stuff there. One more super chat, then we'll get to the man, Jeff Kerr. Jim Rashid checks in again. Thank you, Rashid, for your 2 super chats this morning. He says Milroe and Hurts are not the same, Z. Regard of being benched, Hurts took his team to 2 national championships at one program and was Heisman runner-up at another. I'm not saying they're the same, Rashid. I'm just saying that their scouting reports are similar. And with Milroe's athleticism, I think there's an offensive coach out there who's oohing and on. I mean, look at Jaden Daniels. Look at Jalen Hurts. Look at Josh Allen. Look at the way the dual-threat quarterback has taken over the NFL. And that's, as John pointed out, he's got Lamar Jackson level athleticism. So we'll see what happens. Rashid, appreciate it, brother. Thank you, man. I do agree, though. Hurts is definitely has more accolades than Milroe. Let's go to our main man, Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports, joining us now with 2 days out from the NFL draft, joining us at Jeff Kerr CBS. Jeff, welcome to the show, man, on a Tuesday edition. We're used to talking to you on a Monday. How you doing today, brother?
48 hours, boys. I can't wait till this thing starts.
Oh, man. Let's get it over with. Let's start it right now, Jeff Kerr. Start
you
it
know
right
what?
now.
We could have started this 2 months ago, and I would have been more than okay with it.
Yeah, boy. And now we're at the point where it's just all the silly season, all the crazy talk, all the trades, all this nonsense. Is there anything worse in the world? I guess there's worse things in the world. There's
Yes,
war.
there is. Whatever you're about to say, yes.
Yeah, there's war. There's sickness. But I gotta believe mock draft trades are top 3.
Oh, yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
I won't do them. I always say I'm going to do no trades mock draft. And,
That's me, yep.
and people are like, well, you're going to get it wrong in mock draft database. I'm like, do you think I care if I'm right or wrong?
You're going to get it wrong in mock draft database. Who's getting it right in mock draft database? Are you kidding me?
You know what? I'll say this. The 2 worst types of people right now. Ready? The people who actually live and die by how many mock draft picks they get right, and the people that think their baseball team wins because they go to the game.
Yeah, we get some baseball.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Jeff, that's the worst.
The Phillies are 5-0. Yeah, the Phillies are 5-0.
You're not shit anywhere.
I saw someone say, I'm here to bring back the vibes. I said, you're not bringing back anything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure various Phillies are looking around at the guy in the 14th row. Oh, he's here tonight. Let's pick it up.
I honestly, people seek attention more than ever, and it's sad. It really is.
We are off to a curmudgeon start on this.
We are.
We are curmudgeons.
We are. I mean, this is like the NFL, the no fun league with Jeff and John. Come on, boys. Lighten up a little bit.
I'm so upset that I couldn't get on yesterday. I had some stuff to do. But I really wanted to just talk to you guys about the fake A.J. Brown trade stuff before Adam Schefter actually put it to rest.
Yeah. Well, and by the way, shut up with that, Jeff. Adam put it to rest. Shut up. Shut up with that. Everybody believes it because Adam puts a signature on it. We've been talking about it for weeks. It's stupid.
It is stupid. And the thing is,
and by the way, I'm not the only one. Anybody with any credibility that follows this team told you that they weren't trading A.J. Brown. Then Adam puts a signature on it after we do it, and everybody's like, oh, I guess it's real. I mean, come on.
It's so upsetting to me because you have so many people that are credible and they won't listen to, but they'll listen to someone aggregating what someone said that they know is not true, but everything is about getting those 10 cents for the like.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm not criticizing. Adam's great, but I mean, come on. He didn't.
Yeah.
He was not breaking.
It's just upsetting because fans deserve better. They really do.
Well, I don't know if they do, Jeff, from the standpoint if that's what they want. Like, Xander's saying we're curmudgeonly. I mean, but pointing out that from mock draft, I mean, they're stupid. They're stupid. I mean, I'm sorry. But if you want to hear about AJ getting traded, like I always say, there's a very high profile radio station. They'll tell you that.
And it's not everybody there.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
Of course not. But there's certain people, you know who they are.
Oh, I know who they are. And it's funny because you could call them out in public and they are the shyest, most awkward people you'll ever meet.
Well, first of all, I have no desire to call anybody out. If you want to be stupid, that's your right. I mean, that's your right.
I'm the no way respects you person.
Well, but that's part of it. If you're going to do that, and yeah, I mean, people, and in a lot of ways, and I've been around this industry for a long time, and there's a little bit of and to be honest, a little bit of high school type loserness from the standpoint of people who follow the team on a daily basis will look down on others. I try not to be that way, but there is that part of it, and that sucks too. But it's sort of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's done because people say stupid shit. So then if they show up, yeah, there's no credibility, which they rarely show up anyway. So
that's one thing I really enjoy about covering the Phillies. I feel like there are a lot of irrational fans, obviously, but there are some people that really want to have that conversation about, say, the bullpen, right? They want to be like, okay, who do you DFA and who do you DFA him for? It's like you say, John, elevating the conversation. It's like, okay, say we entertain this. How are we going to entertain it? It's, with AJ Brown, all you had to do was go on over the cap and realize that's never going to happen.
Well, that's what, and I put out, and that's long before Adam Schefter, I said, before you start talking about these goofy trades, if you want to be credible, and some people don't, so I get that part of it, or if you want to be realistic, look at the contracts before you start talking about the players. Is this possible? Is this doable?
I just don't know where WEEI got all their fake stuff, because when I talk to people from Boston, they're like, no, this isn't a thing.
Well, no, I mean, somebody made it up. I mean,
yeah, you're right. You hate to admit that, but
I mean, a little birdie told me. What is Howie calling some rando from W? It's not even one of their big guys. It's not even, Greg Bedard or whoever, covers the Patriots nowadays.
I was going to say Tom Curran's in that.
Tom Curran, yeah. Mike Rice, I think, is still up there.
Andrew Callahan's there. He's pretty good.
Yeah, it's some rando who does weekends on WEEI. A little birdie told me. I mean, what? I'm going to pass. First of all, Howie doesn't even talk to us. Well, he talks to us off the record, but I mean, he's not like leaking stuff to insert name. He doesn't do that. Anybody, he doesn't do that. You might get it from other people, but he doesn't do that.
Yeah, you're not getting it from the big cheese himself. Let's just
so some rando doing weekends on WEEI ain't getting ironclad information from Howie Roseman, to say the least.
I mean, it's a fortress, and they have every right for it to be a fortress, basically, with how social media is today.
Yeah. What I find is an easy way for some of these people who aren't there to get some information. A lot of people know security people, it seems, especially locally. And I'm not talking about security people like Dom. I'm talking about some guy who works at the facility. Well, I shouldn't say anything. I don't want to get anybody fired, but
I was gonna say,
but every once in a while you'll see this. Every once in a while you see this rando get something right, and it's about maybe somebody's at the building or that type of thing. And they'll say, oh, their friend will tell them so-and-so was at the building, that kind of thing. Not meaty, significant stuff, but that kind of thing. That's all I'm talking about. But the Eagles probably already know that. Don't fire anybody, Eagles. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have went on that tangent. But let's get back to the draft. All right. I look at it three ways, Jeff. Trade up, obviously. Stay put at 32, trade down. And I don't want you to speculate on trades. We just mock them, so I'm not going down that route.
We just mock trades, and now we're going to talk about trades.
But no, just players. because I'm getting a lot of upside when late in the process. I'm getting a lot of, they like Walter Nolan. They like Shamar Stewart. They like Oladipo, the kid from UCLA. I'm getting a lot of these high upside players that, in the case of Nolan, I think he's in a different category. I think that best case scenario, I think that's the player the Eagles want. I don't know how they get him. Certainly would have to be a trade up.
I think they would, if Nolan's the guy they want, I personally think they're going to be aggressive, not like super aggressive, but like aggressive enough where you're really in that ballpark of other teams are thinking, okay, who are they getting? Like at say 24 or 25. And then it would probably be a guy like him. That'd be my guess.
Yeah, I don't even know if he can fall to 24. 24 is the spot because everybody looks at Minnesota. They only have 4 picks, and they desperately need to add picks, and their GM's kind of guy you can take advantage of, or at least previously younger guy. So I think everybody looks at that as the sweet spot. But I don't think he falls to 24. But if that's the case and he's there, yeah, I think the Eagles get aggressive.
It's really bizarre too. And again, I mock drafts, but when you do look at them, why is it everybody has Nolan fallen to the very back of the first round? I just don't understand.
Well, I've seen so many Walter Nolans at 32. So I brought it up to Jeremiah on this conference call, and he's like, yeah, I don't think so. But I know PFF has him as the 7th best player in the draft.
Yeah.
He, former 5-star recruit. Remember Jimbo Fisher's greatest recruiting class of all time? He had like 8 5-star guys.
Was that the Winston, or are you talking about when he went to A&M?
Yeah, A&M.
Oh, okay.
He had 8 5-star recruits.
Well, Shamar Stewart was one of them, right?
Walter Nolan was the best of the 8. They had 8 5-star recruits, and Walter Nolan was the best of all of them coming out of high school. So he's a high-level prospect, but he's got these weird sort of whispers. And I can't help thinking the Eagles might be a part of that, trying to whisper, trying to scare people off.
Yeah, it is weird, right? Because you don't know what they are, but they're out there. But you don't know what it is.
Exactly. So I think that's what everybody said. Well, he's got concerns. What are these concerns? Other than he wasn't that effective, at least based on the hype at Texas A&M, that he should have been, and then he transferred to Ole Miss, and then he turned into a first-team All-American.
It takes longer for some people to develop, or maybe he just wasn't happy with his situation. That's very possible.
Exactly.
Yeah. My favorite is now. They switch schools, or they're not happy at one school. Well, everybody switches now.
Yeah, everybody does. So I don't even know why that's an issue, but that's part of it because he switched schools and maybe he doesn't want to fight through it and that bullshit. It's like everybody switches schools.
Well,
now.
Travis Hunter switched schools.
Everybody did.
Cam Ward did.
Yeah, Cam was at
If
Incarnate
you're holding that
Word.
against college players, moving forward, you're not going to like any college players. I mean, this is the new world. I mean, what are we going to dock a player for transfer? They're getting offered $3 million to transfer.
I don't like the state of college football right now.
Me neither.
It's
Jeff,
awful.
I'm not going to sit here. I agree with you, Jeff, completely.
Yeah,
But if you're an NFL team and you're ruling out guys for transferring, you're going to rule out everybody.
Well, exactly. That's why that NFL way of thinking's got to go. That's why you're correct, Zander, because this is normal. This is the new. There are no rules. It's crazy. You just do what you want and get as much money as you want. And I'm okay with that, but be prepared for the criticism that's going to come your way.
I agree completely. Jeff, with where the Eagles are sitting, I know we criticized trading and drafts all like crazy, but I want to talk about it from a real perspective. Not that I'm projecting anything, but from my estimation, just looking at this board, looking at the players, 32 is really not a good spot. Like, you could have somebody fall, but you could also get into a situation where, are you going to pick Trey Amos at 32? Are you going, you know what I mean? Like, are you going to pick Benjamin Morrison? I like the player, but they're not going to use him. So I think 26 is somewhere you want to get to, or 26, 27, 28, just from a value standpoint, from I can get a player in round one. What do you think the Eagles have to do in this opening round, or at least for their first pick, to get a player that can be a viable contributor this year?
Remember, I said to you guys that last week, and I actually kind of used our conversation as one of the, for my overreactions piece I did pre-draft. I always do a column on overreactions, or whether it's an actual overreaction or reality or not. And I basically said this draft class stinks. And draft guys did not like it. I heard opinions about it. I told them I don't care. You people think every draft class is good. Well, guess what? I think if you're the Eagles, you have to trade up, because there just isn't that much top-end talent to me. I just don't see it. There's only about 2 or 3 blue-chip players. The rest of the guys, they're not first-round picks, a lot of them. And I think if you want to get that first-round pick, like a Walter Nolan or something like that, you have to trade up. But maybe that's why I'm starting to think, not like I shouldn't say think, but would it be the worst thing in the world the Eagles trade back? Because it seems like there's more depth.
Yeah, I agree.
No, that's where I kind of disagree with what Zander said. I'm in more of, all right, the one guy who I just brought up, Walter, if he falls for whatever reason, all right, I'll go up. I'll try to get aggressive. Maybe Mike Green as well. Maybe, but I don't know how they feel about. I haven't heard anything about Mike Green.
See, I think Mike Green's a top 15 player.
So do I.
Me too.
And that's why.
See, mine wasn't as much disagreeing with you guys. It was more saying if Philly's going to take a pick in round one, in other words, if you can't tango and move back a couple of spots, they're in like the middle. And I don't think you want to be in the middle. I'd rather have second round value, or from 20 to 28 is where I think a lot of those guys that the Eagles are interested in, Nolan, Pierce, Ezeraku. Oh, I think those guys are all going off the board between 20 and 28 or something.
This is why I keep telling people, please watch the quarterbacks. I know in Philadelphia we don't care because we have a quarterback, but watch the Shedeur Sanders fall, if there is one. Watch Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, guys like that, because if they get picked, there's going to be a run of quarterbacks here. People are going to be dying to get to 32.
That's true. If the run starts, then teams will start.
I think you got to secretly hope for Jackson Dart to get drafted.
I think he will. I think he's going 21 to Pittsburgh. But I don't think the run is going to start. I don't think anybody's coming up and saying, "Oh shit, we didn't get Jackson Dart. We got to get Shedeur." That's the problem.
Top of round 2.
Yeah, you need a run, and I think people are content right now to sit at the top of round 2.
Doesn't it feel like the Will Levis year? Like you didn't want to draft him in the first round, but at the start of the second round, you're like, okay, we got to go get this said guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You'll see teams go to bed. Well, Cleveland's got that first pick in the second round. They're going to take a quarterback.
Do you think that's why the Browns are looking at trading down? I've been hearing rumblings about that.
Well, I think they'd love to, but
I would just take Travis Hunter and be happy.
Really? So I was going to ask you, Jeff, if the board falls as we assume in the top 1, and the Titans do take Cam Moore, which I think is going to happen, I would take Abdul Carter. You would take Travis Hunter?
Well, I think Abdul Carter is the best player in the draft. It's not because I'm a Penn Stater. I just truly believe he's.
I do too. I do too.
But I'll tell you what, I think Travis Hunter could be a really special football player.
So do I, but I think you got to pick a position. And you got to convince him to pick a position.
That was one of my with Abdul Carter. I mean, they don't even need a quarterback. They'll be.
No. You need a quarterback.
No, I know. I'm just saying. That's.
Hey, you know what, guys? They have a quarterback. He played here last year.
Yeah, Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco too. 2 former Eagles. Yeah, but Cleveland's going to take a quarterback, but probably at 33. Yeah, I've heard some late shifting towards Abdul Carter. That could be subterfuge. Otherwise, they'll take Travis Hunter. But, I think a lot of people want to move out. I know Schefter said the only team he's heard anything about moving up is Denver. And he had like 7 or 8 teams who want to move down.
Yeah, it seems like this is the draft a lot of people want to move down because there's more talent
Yeah, well, I think 20 to 50 is basically the same. So I think
where is
that,
Denver picking? Like 20, I think.
um,
Yeah, 20. They're 20.
yeah, so I think I think 20 to 50 is basically a bunch of similar grades. And, I think then the thought process becomes, well, if we're getting a second round pick, why are we paying them? Why are we paying them first round money? Now they can't all trade out. And the Eagles probably have a better advantage than most if they want to trade out because the fifth year option, the last one. But why would anybody want to come up? Like Cleveland's not going to come up. They'll just sit at 33. Giants, they'll just sit at 34 unless they're jockeying for the same quarterback, which to your point, Jeff, you got to have multiple quarterbacks go. I'm pretty convinced that Ward and Jackson Dart are going in the first round now. I'm not as convinced on Shedeur Sanders. I think he might flip.
I think there'll be at least 3.
There's really got to be 4, I think.
Yeah, to really get that domino going.
And I think at 4, the panic starts. I got to get up and get Tyler Shuck.
I'll just say this. This isn't
I'm
28.
laughing.
This isn't 2018 where I remember going into that draft. I'm thinking, okay, and remember that was the Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson year, and I remember Baker, and I'm thinking to myself, there's a couple pretty good quarterbacks in this draft, and I really liked Lamar, and I was shocked he fell, but it worked out for the Eagles. He fell.
Yeah. I'm surprised. I always say I'm very proud. Eagles fans tend to think I get on them too much, but I'm very proud that nobody brings up the Eagles could have had Lamar Jackson. Very proud. And now part of that is just because they managed to find a quarterback. And if they didn't have a quarterback, you'd probably have some of that.
It was even hard to kind of even say that at the time, just because you have Wentz and you have.
I know,
and I think they know there was no way that was ever going to happen.
Still, you always seem to have those people that just say, "Well, this guy's good. We could have had him." They look at the draft, and obviously, how many MVPs does Lamar have? 2. He didn't win. He should have won last year.
Yeah.
Nah, I thought Josh should have won. I liked the Josh pick at MVP last year.
But he won 2. And he's been a generational quarterback, and he wins a lot. It's crazy. He actually has a higher win percentage than Jalen Hurts does.
Wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's funny because we all talk about Jalen's a winner, but again, it really comes down to Jalen's got it done in the postseason, and Lamar hasn't yet. And a lot of that's on Lamar. I've covered a lot of Lamar playoff games. He's just not the same player he is in the postseason compared to regular season. And I've covered a lot of Jalen playoff games. Jalen just turns on another level.
Yeah, I agree. Jeff, who do you like in this draft for the Eagles? Like, is there 3 players? Who would be 3 players that would be a home run pick for the Eagles with their first? And I don't care where you take it. It could be top of the second round. It could be 32. They could move up. Who would be 3 players you like that are in range for the Eagles for them to take first overall?
I'm trying to go in their mindset too, Zander. So
yeah, I agree. Yep,
I mean, look, I think Walter Nolan would be the guy I'd be more excited for than anything. It just kind of feels like. And look, I'm no expert here, but when you're watching defensive line play, you see like a kind of Milton Williams successor in Walter Nolan. I think he can line up on the edge. He lines up outside the tackle. He can line up, get in the B gap. I really like him. I think he would fit well. I'm starting to really fall in love with Shamar Stewart. The sack numbers say no, but man, does that guy get to the quarterback?
Oh, that dude's athletic, man.
Yeah. Very unproductive. Very unproductive.
He's got Eagles written all over him.
He really does.
I'm
just thinking that like he's an Eagle.
Unproductive, guys. He was scarily unproductive.
Well, prepare yourself. He's got Eagles written all over him.
That's when it was funny. John and I were having a text back and forth yesterday. I'm like, I hope he says Shamar Stewart in the combo, and there it was.
Yeah.
That's the name I was looking at.
I wouldn't be a huge fan of that pick.
I don't give a shit either way, but be prepared because I see a lot of people hate Shamar Stewart.
I don't hate him.
No, well, I'm talking about people in the chat.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
like
well,
losing
you
their
know,
mind.
they look at sacks. That he had 39 pressures last year. His
Yeah.
pressure rate was
I'm just
40%.
saying, prepare yourself because, and hey, I said there's so many good edge rushers in this draft. He might be the guy that somebody else falls in love with. So he might go 15. And, but he might be there at 32
Do you guys
because
like
of
to
that
give?
lack of production.
You
And
guys
the
like to
Eagles
give,
will see that as tremendous freaking value. Tremendous value
do
to
you
have
guys like to
somebody
give
with that
from
upside.
ball from college?
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, I like him, but I don't. Here's my problem with him, and I've been saying it for a while. At some point, you got to get some damn size on the edge. They got
Jamar
Nolan
Stewart's got that.
Smith. I know. They got Nolan Smith. They got
Jalen.
Jalix Hunt, who has the frame that some. I'm interested to see Jalix when he comes back in the summer to see if he gained weight. But Azeez Ojulari is undersized. They got all these undersized guys, and they're talking about adding these 240-pound guys all the time. Well, a lot of people are, not necessarily the Eagles. And I'm like, all right, at some point somebody's going to wake up and say, let's take advantage of this. I don't know if it's going to happen, but you would think at some point it would happen. And that's Scorton, I think, would be a safe pick, but he's not athletic enough for the Eagles.
I feel like you should trade down for a guy like him.
Yeah, he might be a trade down guy. I just don't. From everything I get, they're looking at athletes and they're trying to hit the home run.
If they ended up drafting Starks from Georgia, I would not hate that pick at all. I just think the guy's a natural born leader, and he plays everywhere in Kirby Smart's defense.
He's got great instinct. There's no doubt about that, Jeff. I like the player. I just have a hard time believing the Eagles are going to draft a safety.
Well, I think he's second tier for them. He's like the safety. He's like, if all the other guys are gone, if 7 edge rushers are gone, 7 edge rushers are gone. Then you got to shift.
Which could happen. I took a lot. Look, I hate mock drafts, but I had to do one, and I was doing it based on who's the best and having them pick on their teams. I wasn't even doing it for me. I'm like, oh my God, I have like 6, 7 edge rushers gone by 25.
Yeah. Yep.
And if that happens, I mean, that's where I think that the homework comes in on guys like Starks and Hairston and Amos as the contingency.
I wouldn't hate the Amos pick. Maybe not 32, but I definitely wouldn't hate it.
Well, that's where I think that's why I don't like it, because you're going to take him at 32, or you're probably not going to take him.
All right, I'm gonna drop the name. I already dropped it to Zander. I'm gonna drop it to you. That is going to set people on fire to the point I almost hope it happens. Number 32 overall. Eagles can't trade out, can't trade up, can't get Walter Nolan. Olawafemi Oladejo. I see Zander's head drop.
I feel like we could get that guy in round 2. Is he going to go that high?
Good player.
Boy, there's a lot of freaking hype around that kid.
You know what I'm going to be upset about if the Eagles would take him? I'm going to have to – I'm already trying to learn how to spell it and pronounce it. I'm really going to have to –
the last name's easy. You'll get used to it.
Well, yeah, the last name, but hopefully he's like Adafe Owe and –
set your autocorrect on your computer to spell the name right, because you'll be typing that name a lot.
Zander, my computer sometimes freezes just for the sake of freezing. As I told you this morning.
I'm telling you, man. Me too. I got to get all new hardware over here.
That's what I'm doing. I think I was just getting a new one at this point. Mine's 9 years old. It's in good shape. It's just,
9 years. That's impressive. In fact, you might want to give that computer a pat on the back and say thank you for your service.
You know what? As much as I complain about iMacs, I mean, I've gotten some good life out of this thing.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. That is pretty good. But we'll see what happens, Jeff. It's going to be an interesting draft, man. So many different. The thing I'm most excited about with this draft is there's so much variability on every single player. Like you could literally take any player outside of the top 5 and say, oh, they could go at 8, they could go at 20, they could go at 25. There's so much variability. So I'm excited to see where they all go, because there is a lot.
It's a very weird draft this
It
year.
is.
Like more than ever. And I think we're starting to hit the end of that whole 5th-year COVID year where everybody got the extra. I think we got one more year to go in it, but it's starting to come to an end here. And not saying we're going to get back to normal because college football is not normal anymore. But yeah, it's definitely been interesting seeing the path of some of these players and where they used to be or where they started. And
Yeah, a lot of range for a lot of these prospects. So I think there's going to be a lot of surprises, and people.
I'll tell you one guy I run to the podium for, and I know that they're probably not going to take him, but I run to the podium for him, and that's Booker. I know they don't even need a guard. I just want them to do it.
I kind of disagree with. I think they do need a guard because.
Well, he's a good guard. I think he's going to be excellent. And that's not just because I'm a Bama guy. That kid can play.
John, what's your take on Donovan Jackson?
I love of the two. I'd rather have for the Eagles. I'd rather have Jackson. Booker doesn't strike me as an Eagles guy because he's pretty good.
Jackson does.
Yeah, Jackson does. Booker's better, I think, from the standpoint, but I think that his workouts kind of.
What bothers me about the Donovan Jackson hate, and this is a guy who has a lot of respect for Ohio State players. Please do not judge that guy over going against Abdul Carter at a position that he really isn't going to be in the NFL, and that's tackle. And Abdul Carter just wrecks everybody.
Yeah, I take him number one. But obviously Cam Ward. It's going to be interesting. I hear a lot of Cleveland hype that they're shifting to him now, and that'll screw the Giants, which I kind of chuckle at.
Well, yeah. It's funny because you figured the Giants are going to get the best player in the draft at 3, and they're going to be stuck.
Yeah, they don't seem to like Travis Hunter. Now, I would take him if I'm the Giants, but they make bad decisions. So we'll see. There's going to be a lot of – I think everybody's trying to take advantage of poor Ryan Poles and his reputation, trying to get him to come up for Austin Genty. I think that's going to be a thing.
I think the Raiders or Jacksonville's going to get him.
Well, I think they're talking about it because they're trying to get Poles to come up and get something else extra.
I think Mason Graham's going to be a stud.
Yeah, I'm not in love with any players in this draft except Carter and to a certain degree Hunter, but
it's Carter and Hunter are the two for me.
Yeah, I'm with you on Mason Graham though, Jeff. I like that dude, man.
There are guys I like. It's just, but if you're gonna tell me these are the slam dunks, it's John just mentioned.
You know who I think is a slam dunk? The only guy I think is a slam dunk that other people don't think he's a slam dunk because of his arm length is Will Campbell.
Oh, I love Will Campbell. If the Patriots would get him at 4, I think that's a great draft for them.
I'm not as sold on Mason Graham as you guys. I think he's fine. I'm not at that level where
I'll just say this. If I'm the Jaguars at 5, and I've talked to Jaguars people about this, if you had a chance to take Mason Graham or Ashton Genty,
I take Genty.
I would too. That's what I told them.
You think the Patriots will take Genty? Or at least consider it, Jeff?
I think they consider it. I mean, I would consider
it seems like they'll do anything right now for a skill position.
I mean, honestly, they need help there. And
I know they don't have any receivers or running backs,
but they need offensive line help too.
I know. That's why. Who do you guys like better? Do you guys like Will Campbell or you like Armand Membu?
I like Campbell better.
I like Campbell better.
But I like Membu as a player. So these are my bold predictions.
Membu's got the bigger upside.
That's
like I'm a safety guy. I admit it. I'm a safety guy.
But there's nothing wrong with the NFL draft, man. When it's a crapshoot, I'm not mad at you for being a safety guy. That makes sense. Give me the guy with the highest floor. I don't hate that perspective.
Yeah. Now the Eagles are the exact opposite.
Here's some bold predictions for me with this top 10. I do think Genty goes in the top 5, and I do think Tyler Warren goes in the top 10.
Yeah, I think he should. I'll tell you that. There's some positional issue, obviously, but people go Brock Bowers. I mean. Yeah, Brock Bowers didn't go in the top 10, but Brock Bowers would have went in the top 10 in this freaking draft.
I know, I know,
mean-
John. I know you don't, Xander. I know you do. When I did my fantasy football dynasties this year, I was the guy who took Brock Bowers in every single one of them and won a lot of leagues for it.
Yeah, he had an unbelievable year. He was a
Yeah.
great player for them. But
I knew he was going to be good. I did not think he was going to be like Mike Ditka level good in year one.
Oh yeah, you know who else I failed to mention? I mentioned it to Xander, but I don't think I mentioned it to you, Jeff. Shadei Barron.
No,
Eagles
you know,
like-
no. You mentioned Shadei Barron.
Did I?
I like Shadei Barron a lot.
I
He-
could see him going top 15 though.
He could go, he could play the slot. He could
I know.
play
I think
box.
he's going. I think he's going very high. I'm just saying the Eagles like him.
I trade
But,
up for him.
but John, when you say that, what's the what would be this like the like? Do you think they're going to trade up for him? You think they like him that
No.
much, or are you just saying they like the player?
No.
Because
They like
by
the
my
player.
estimation, he's not even in range. They probably like Abdul.
Well,
Qadir,
that's
so
what
it ain't possible.
in my estimation, he's not going to be in range in your estimation. But again, there's 67 first-round picks. Somebody's got to fall.
Yeah. It
They're
happens
not
every year.
going up to 15. No, they're not going up to 15 for anybody. But somebody's got to fall.
You know,
And I just know he's a player they have fallen in love with. Doesn't mean they can get him. But I'm just throwing him out there.
I still think the guy that somehow is going to fall, and I'm going to laugh when he does, is Colson Loveland because he shouldn't fall at all.
Oh, he's very good. He's more of a Zach Ertz type than a
Yeah, he is.
Tyler Warren's more of a well-rounded tight end.
It's funny. I kind of compare Tyler Warren to Brock Bowers a bit, which is kind
It's
of
probably
nuts.
a better blocking upside, I would say, but not. I don't think he has near the receiving upside. So it depends what you want.
Who is your guy? Like, if you had to, I'm not even talking about the top guys. Like, who's your guy? I always like doing that. Who's your guy in the draft? The guy you'll live and die for.
Well, I don't like. I mean, I think Carter's the best player in the draft. But as far as what player I would stake my reputation on, I've had good luck with this. Aaron Donald back in the day. Antoine Winfield was my guy back in the day.
Antoine Winfield was a stud.
Yeah, I've missed on some. Zach Martin was my guy back in the day. Not a lot of when I talk about, but the safest player in this draft is Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. You know who
You're a Penn State guy, but I'm not doing it for Penn State reasons.
Well, it's funny. I'm ready to pick an Ohio State guy. It's my guy.
But number 2, I would say, is Will Campbell.
What about Jihad Campbell? I know I'm a Bama guy, but I think he is. I think he's a super.
I think he's by far the best at his position.
Yeah. See, I have a problem with Jihad Campbell because I don't think that's his best position.
Yeah, I
Very
agree.
similar.
Yeah, that's the irony of it.
Micah Parsons, right, John? Is that what you're seeing?
Well, yeah, I think he's more of an edge. But here's the thing. This is such a crazy draft. I saw 2 really well-respected draft analysts, guys and one said he's got no instincts, and that's why he should be on the edge. And the other guy was saying he's got great instincts. And I'm like, what are we doing here?
Right.
What are we doing here? How could that be possible?
If Jihad Campbell, this is just knowing how things run at Penn State. If Jihad Campbell was at Penn State, you get to have a little bit of a voice there. Abdul Carter literally said, "I'm gaining weight. I want to play edge because I believe that's where my future
make
is
money
in the NFL." Yeah, exactly. That's what it was all about. James Franklin goes, "Go play there. You're going to succeed. Go get your bag." It worked. Oh, and he did play some off-ball linebacker last year too, Abdul Carter. Like, people don't notice it, but it's on the tape.
By the way, it's just the sort of the PFF one sentence thing on Jihad Campbell. So boiling it down. Campbell has the ideal build and athletic ability to play any linebacker spot, but he projects best to a Mike or Sam, that's middle or strong side linebacker, in 4-3 schemes, which I hate because nobody plays 4-3.
Yeah, no one does that.
But or a Mike edge in a 3-4. What does that even mean? Again,
I have no
oh,
idea.
he's going to be a middle linebacker or an edge rusher.
This is why the draft is such a crapshoot sometimes.
You know what that tells me? We have no idea what he projects.
Exactly.
So true.
I've done that when I wrote about some of these guys. I'm like, I'll be honest, I don't have a clue.
Is
So
the
similar-
Eagles is the Eagles' nightmare this year the Giants taking Abdul Carter if he does fall to 3? Then you got to deal with that freaking guy.
You got to deal with him. You got to deal with Dexter Lawrence. You got to deal with Kayvon Thibodeau. By the way,
I think they might get rid of Kayvon Thibodeau. I think they're.
No, they will.
They would go Burns and Carter. Yeah, I think.
I don't know if you saw it, Zander.
If I'm the Giants, I keep all 3. Why?
I know.
I would too, but I don't think they're going to do that because they're not smart.
Well, that's true. That's true.
What about that? What about? Well, go ahead, Jeff. You were about to say something.
Yeah, no, but I was. This is one thing I've been hearing about this draft, and maybe John can back me up on this. It seems like a lot of veterans are going to get traded.
Yeah,
not saying to a team that this show was focused on, but there's parts. Let's just put it that way.
That's interesting. Jeff, who do you think the Cowboys are going to take at 12? They're in an interesting spot.
I had them taking Mike Green.
Oof. See, I think they're going to go a different route.
Like
I don't know if they're going to go edge rusher, although they did just lose to Marcus Lawrence. I mean, they certainly
that was one of the reasons I'm like, look, this guy's way too good to pass at 12.
I like that pick. I don't think they're going that pick.
I don't think they are either.
I think that's a Will McClay pick. I think if Will's in charge, they're taking Mike Green. I think Jerry will step in and they'll take some Ted McMullen or some bullshit like that.
Ted McMullen. Well, that'd be great for Eagles fans. I'm not.
Speaking of Eagles Cowboys here, John, Zander? I'm sure both of you guys saw. Did you see the viral tweet that went out yesterday after Cam Jurgens signed his extension?
No.
Some Cowboys fan put up Cam Jurgens' PFF grades and Cooper Beebe's PFF grades.
Cooper Beebe,
right?
He's a player, Cooper Beebe.
No, he is right.
Okay.
I really like Cooper Beebe, but Beebe was higher, and he said the jokes write themselves. And I'm like, hold on a second, isn't this the fan base that gets on Jalen Hurts for having talent around him? And you're claiming your quarterback doesn't have talent, and yet you're pulling this now? I swear, fans can be really ridiculous when it comes to certain things.
Well, Cowboys fans have been delusional for a long time. I don't think I don't even know if most of them would take that personally. They've been clamoring for any sort of success, hopefully. So yeah, Cowboys fans are completely delusional. But I think at pick 12, they are in an interesting spot. Like, if Genty falls, I think Jerry will run to the plate.
I would run to him too.
I think Jerry will run. I think Tyler Warren, they maybe go for, even though they do have Jake Ferguson. I could see that for them. I could even see them taking Walter Nolan.
Cowboys like Penn State guys.
Yeah, that'd be a good pick.
By the way, that's my other bold prediction in this draft. Somehow Michael Parsons is not getting an extension with the Dallas Cowboys.
He will.
He should, but
no, he will get an extension.
So
when
he's going to leave the Cowboys?
This thing should be done, to be honest with you.
No, yeah, but he will be the highest paid non-quarterback in the history of football.
I believe Michael Parsons gets at least $45 million.
When Jerry deems it is the headline is ready to go.
Yeah, right.
Like, I mean, that's his deal. He's not losing him. But for those who think he's going to be on the Cowboys. He's just going to waste money. That's what he always does.
Do you guys think, I've been hearing this too, that the 49ers, not that they're going to trade him, but they're at least listening on Brandon Ayuk.
On who?
Brandon Ayuk. I thought that was an untradeable contract.
The guy a bag of money last offseason.
You know what? Carson wants a bag of money once.
He had that big it was a couple weeks ago where he had a big bonus due.
Yeah.
And if they would have traded him before that, they already paid him a bunch of money. I don't think
I wouldn't trade him, but you hear that.
I don't think he's going. And the PFF grades. See, this is like PFF grades. Where's our guy who used to call me Mr. PFF? They're very valuable if you understand what they are.
Exactly.
The vast majority of people don't understand what they are because Cam's PFF grades weren't great by the end of the season because he's playing through a fucking back injury where he could barely move. So 3 of his worst 4 games were at the very end of the season.
That's why you got to watch
Yeah,
the
which
sport
scaled
a
it
bit.
down. And he was really poor. He got really poor pass protection grades because he couldn't move.
I'll tell you what, I talked to Cam twice at the Super Bowl, and I just asked him, how was the back? He said,
Oh,
said,
I mean,
yeah,
Jordan Mailata,
yeah.
Jordan Mailata clean out day after the Super Bowl. It's like, I can't even believe he played.
I can't believe he played. Like, this was his words to me. I'm walking. Like, okay, that was on media night. And I think the only reason he said it was, one, he knew I wasn't, two, there really wasn't a lot of people around him at the time. Now, there were a couple people, but it wasn't like initially where there was like 20 people. It's like, oh, I'm walking. Oh boy.
So anyway, I just say, there's a lot of context to those grades, but people just...
You know what's funny, John? I honestly forget how that situation played out. Dickerson played center, right? I gotta rewatch the playoffs again.
Yeah, Dickerson started the NFC Championship game at center, and
Steen was at guard.
He got hurt, and Cam played the second half.
Yeah,
because we're all saying, "Oh, Cam's not playing," but he stayed dressed.
Yeah, that was a big story for us that day. Like, I had to write that up. Like, oh, Cam Jurgens is dressed.
Yeah. And he had to come in and he played the whole second half and then obviously played through the Super Bowl. And he wasn't bad in the Super Bowl. So the extra
he said that week off was huge.
Yeah. Helped him. But yeah, he was hurt and Landon was hurt. Landon probably shouldn't have played.
Landon's tough as nails too. I don't know how these guys do it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think if you're not on the injury report, or even if you are and you're active, people assume, he's good to go. No, these guys. I said that for years about Kelsey. Everybody, well, he's feeling good. He's not feeling good.
No, he's never feeling good. Jason always looked like he was ready to just get the walker out.
Oh my God. The stuff Jason Peters was about, the stuff he did just to get ready for practice when he was here at the end was crazy. Same thing with Kelsey. Kelsey looked like a stormtrooper at the end with the big elbow brace and braces all over his body. Yeah. Those guys go through a lot. But you're out there, people say, oh, he's fine. Maybe not.
You're right. That's a good description of Kelsey. Just all the stuff. If you watch him put on stuff, you were like amazed.
Yeah. So it takes him like 45 minutes.
I still remember the video I got of him like throwing the ball to his kids. He was on the ground, and after it came up, and him and Kylie walked by, and I was like, "You're feeling all right?" He's like, "Man, I just want to sit on the ground all day." And yeah, rough practice that day too.
Yeah, and think about Jason Kelsey, man. One of the greatest centers of all time, 6-time All-Pro, future Hall of Famer, GPS set for Canton. Cam Jurgens, year 2 as a starter, makes more money than Jason Kelsey ever did.
You won as the center, and they also won a Super Bowl in that 1 year too. I mean, there's no way the human element of that doesn't come in. Like, Jason's got to be feeling some type of way. Play 14, 13 years here. The next year, they win the Super Bowl. The center gets paid a max contract, and he's a Pro Bowler. I mean, that's got.
I don't think that's the case, by the way, but I've said that before. Well, I understand Jason Kelsey got a pay raise by leaving the Eagles.
He did. He got a massive pay raise.
Far more money than
that New Heights podcast is clicking, boys.
Cam Jurgens, yeah. So
this is what I want to give Lane Johnson so much credit, because he's so motivated to play into his late 30s. I think that's what's driving him right now. I want to play at a high level going into my late 30s. I want to do something few people get to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's going to the Hall of Fame too.
Oh, he is. Right. The Eagles are going to have a lot of Hall of Famers on this football team.
Yeah, crazy for how spoiled the current fan base is with the offensive line, because for many years this team couldn't find an offensive lineman to save its life.
I still rip fans when they like to rip Donovan and Andy. Okay, I'll play that game. Name me a Hall of Famer on McNabb's office. They go T.O. I said, okay, 1 year. 1 year.
Yeah, T.O. was barely here. We can't Philadelphia fans can't take credit for T.O.
It's very hard to compare Donovan to Jalen because if
it's unfair. It's unfair.
If Donovan had this around him, I mean, who knows how good Donovan could have been.
I don't think there's a generation of Eagles fans that realize how good Donovan was.
He was very good, and he was a little bit early for me. I mean, I remember watching him, but I was.
I'll tell you this, Andrew. In 2000, he carried that team on his back. It was like an AI-like performance. It was you were just waiting for Donovan to make a play because he had nothing.
Oh, at Donovan's height, he was tremendous. I mean, he was one of the first guys who was, and that was sort of before the dual threats were all over the place.
Yeah, right.
You had a lot of people had no idea what to do, and they're rushing him, and he just dumps it off, or they're trying to cover the receiver. He just runs it before. But, in a lot of ways, Donovan was his worst enemy because he wanted to prove to people instead of take advantage of.
He had like that moniker.
Yeah, he didn't like that dual because everybody insulted quarterbacks back then for that. If he would have been playing in this era where it's accepted pretty much, you still got the occasional goop ball, but it's pretty much accepted. I think he's even better.
That's why I think he loves the way Jalen plays so much because he's the best of both, and he wanted to be more the passer because that's how you quote unquote won championships. And I don't know if that's the case anymore.
No, it isn't. Nobody cares. Just win. Where back then, he made a concerted effort to prove that he could be a pocket quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, he gained weight. He gained weight to prove it. I never understood. Everybody goes, "No, he gained weight because he didn't take care of himself." Like, no, he gained weight to prove he could pass. He just did not want that running threat in there. It was a shame. It's funny because Donovan became a better passer in 04, 05. I know he was hurt in 06, but I'm just like, man, he's really missing that running aspect. I just loved it when the Bucs defense had no answer for him. That great defense they had, no answer. They could not. Simeon Rice looked like a fool trying to tackle Donovan McNabb. Yeah. Simeon Rice is a hell of a player.
Man, I remember Colin Kaepernick early. I still remember the Green Bay playoff game.
Oh, man.
Clay Matthews.
One of the best performances I've seen from quarterback.
Clay Matthews was one of the best defensive players in the NFL at that point. Just a tremendous edge rusher. And they were rolling out the zone read stuff, and it was like he was a top. He had no idea what to do. None. Zero. It's one of the great performances of all time. Is that still the record for rushing yards?
It is. Yeah.
Just an amazing performance. And part of it was people did not know how to defend it at all.
No, and he could do both. And again, I'll go back to Donovan here. One of the reasons I do appreciate Donovan as much as I do, I grew up in the 90s. The Eagles did not have a quarterback to save their life. They started 7 different quarterbacks in week 1, 7 years. So don't give me we suffered because of Sam Bradford. BS. Try watching Rodney Peete, Ty Detmer, Coy Detmer, Bubby Brister, the end of Randall. Like, Randall wasn't Randall became Randall again with the Vikings, but he was a different Randall. But the end of Randall's career was brutal.
We suffered for Sam Bradford. Sam was actually
half decent.
Yeah, he was half decent.
I mean, try watching. Ty Detmer was good for like 4 weeks. Bobby Hoying was good for like a game. It was brutal. The 98.
Bradford's in the Business Hall of Fame, isn't he? In the Business Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he was the number 1 overall pick. So he was the last under the last CBA where first round picks got paid outrageous money and they didn't have the scale. So he was the last so-called bonus baby. So, but then, I mean, that year, yeah, I'm looking it up. That year with the Eagles, which was 2015, 65% completion percentage, 3,700 yards. Yeah, he wasn't bad. Those people are insane.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. If you
But
ever
the
want
one thing, it was always funny. Gil Brandt said, the late great Gil Brandt, never saw a more accurate quarterback than Sam Bradford.
he was accurate.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Brent, maybe
Well,
too accurate.
Ball never hit the ground in practice. That was the joke. And it didn't. You remember the preseason game.
Oh, the preseason game is something I'm like, what just happened here?
He just was crippled injury-wise. I mean, he really would have been. And, he went to the Rams. They were a terrible team. Obviously, he's the number 1 overall pick. They were terrible. And he got hurt, and it just never developed. He really was gifted, man. But he's one of the great what-ifs.
It's funny. If you take away that Vikings injury he had, he might have been the quarterback against the Eagles in the NFC Championship game.
No, I don't think he would have, because I don't think they make the NFC Championship.
Yeah, well, true too. Hindsight's always 2020.
That's one of those things where everybody says, because Case Keenum was the quarterback, and everybody laughs when they hear about Case Keenum, but he's like 4th in MVP voting. It's like lightning.
He had a good year that year.
Oh, he had a phenomenal year.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. Sam got hurt very early that year, and if he would have played the whole year and been healthy, he's not having the year Case Keenum had. He's just not.
One of the craziest experiences I think I've ever seen on a football field was I was 7 years old being at the vet when Rodney Peete just torched the Lions in a playoff game. I've never believed in a million years, and I watched this game about 8 different times. That God, I don't know how he did it. I really don't know how Rodney Peete did it. He underthrew passes. He just looked terrible, and yet he had a big playoff game.
Clicking, man. Sometimes it's clicking.
Oh, the next week he played a really good football team, and and we all know who that was. It was the last time a certain franchise won a Super Bowl.
It's like a shooter in the NBA. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't.
Yep, no doubt. Jeff, when does the mock draft come out, bro? I know you don't like doing them. I know you.
Mine came out weeks ago. It's over, baby.
Okay, so you're good. You don't have to do another one. Well, you have a bold take or anything for me on the Eagles? We're 40 or 60 hours out from the draft, maybe 59 hours out or 58 and change out from this draft. Give me a bold take. Give me something on what the Eagles are going to walk away with from this NFL draft.
Eagles will get a veteran edge rusher in this draft.
Ooh, veteran.
Okay.
A little Trayvon Walker news drop. Is that what we're saying?
I just said a veteran edge rusher. You can make up whoever you want.
All right.
That's what we do. That's what we do now. We can make up AJ Brown getting traded. We can make up whatever we want.
So TJ Watt
that is not happening.
No, come on. I just make it up. TJ Watt.
I'm happy you guys shelved your curmudgeonness for about a minute on the show today.
Well, no, I'm going right back to curmudgeon. And back this morning, everybody loves to put their mock drafts up and they take pictures of it from all these drafts. They all have the PFF has the, what do they call it, Zander? The
simulator?
The simulator.
We're about to do one. We're about to do one when you leave, Jeff.
The simulator. So everybody likes to take pictures of it. And the one had the Eagles getting TJ Watt in a trade for the 32nd pick. And I'm like,
well, there's a button on there, John, that you can click force the trade and it makes it accept it.
That's how that happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, what? So I'm back to what are we doing here? The team with no salary cap move space is going to take on the $40 million edge rusher. Sure. Yeah. That's good.
I had someone say to me yesterday about the Jurgens extension. Well, they would have done this 2 months ago. CJ Gardner-Johnson would still be here. I'm like, I can promise you, CJ Gardner-Johnson is still not going to be here.
No, yeah, he was not. Jeff, thank you for joining in today, brother. As always, I hope the computer holds up strong for you on draft week. We will talk to you next week, hopefully on a Monday again, right after the draft. Should be pretty good a week from today. All right, Jeff?
Yeah, we'll get to talk about actual players.
Yeah. By the way, Zander, if you guys want me for 10, 15 minutes of my time this week, just
I would love to hold you. I would love to take you up on that, Jeff.
yeah, just send me a text. I'll be with John at NovaCare on Thursday night. So.
Awesome. Sounds good, Jeff. Thank you, brother. I'll talk to you soon. All right, man.
All right, yep, I'll see you.
All right, thanks, Jeff. There's Jeff Kerr here on Birds 365. Love talking to Jeff Kerr. Great stuff as we get ready for this NFL draft. Just 2 days away, 2 days and 10 and a half hours from this sucker. So we are getting closer, Johnny Mac. It's so close I can almost taste it, John. I am ready.
Not close enough. Actually, I shouldn't say that because I got so much work to do. I got to do my mock draft. I'm dreading it. Yeah.
Well, speaking of it, let's put you in a bad mood. All right. I love you, but I'm gonna put you in a bad mood here. We are gonna do the great simulator on PFF. Who will John take? Here it is, everybody. Here's the simulator. All right, we got the Eagles selected. Let's do 7 rounds. We'll go turbo. We'll go real quick. All right, John, you want me to go care for positional value? Where do you want me to put it? High, low. What are you thinking? They have
Say that again. What are we doing?
Care for positional value. I can just leave them as stock as they do.
Yeah, do stock.
All right,
I don't care what other people think.
So. All right, here we go. Let me do the Eagles. Enter. All right, here we go. Let's see who falls to the Eagles at 32. See, this is what I hate. Now Walter Nolan's there at 32. I've done 40 of these things. Walter Nolan hasn't been there at 32.
Well, yeah. See, this is why can't we just do it from because he's not going to be there. So
he's not. He's not going to be there.
You know, I thought we were going to do the first round. That would help me. Anyway.
Okay, we can do the first round. That's better. I'll do that.
Because then you can get.
Then you can choose. Yeah, then you can choose. All right, here, let me do this.
Yeah. So we got to Cam Ward's number 1, by the way.
Simulator, first round.
Now this will be better because I have to do this.
Okay.
And figure out who I think is going to be there.
All right, so number 1, they're taking Cam Ward. Where is Cam Ward? He's down here. All right, draft. Titans got Cam Ward. Cleveland, who you got?
I'm still going Hunter at this point, even though I'm not buying the subterfuge. Although it would be funny because I have the Giants taking Carter then. But it would be funny if they put the Giants in that position.
All right, so you want to lock in Hunter?
Yeah, lock in Hunter.
All right, lock in Hunter at 2. Giants, you got Carter?
Yep. Giants,
all right, Carter. I hate that for the Eagles. Patriots, who you got here?
Patriots, I'm gonna go Will Campbell. Talked about him. Yeah, love him. They need an offensive line. They'd rather have Carter, obviously, but gonna be out of their range.
Jacksonville, I think that's another team that could use
All right, this is where it starts because I have no freaking idea.
I know. This is where the crapshoot begins.
But I'm gonna go with Jalen Walker.
All right, Jalen Walker from Georgia. Where is he on this list? There he is. Jalen Walker. It's a high pick for him for Jacksonville. We'll put him at 5. 6, you got the Raiders. Johnny Mac, who you thinking?
I'm gonna buy the hype and say they go Ashton Genty.
All right, let's do Ashton Genty. I like that pick there. You got the New York Jets, Johnny Mac.
Jets, I'm going to go. It's either going to be Membu or Tyler Warren. I'm going to go Tyler Warren for the Jets. I think too much Mekhi Becton angst to sell the Membu pick.
Yep, I agree with that. It's a good take by you. You got the Panthers now sitting at number 8, John.
Panthers, that's where I'm going Mason Graham.
All right, I like that.
You figure they were going after Milton Williams so hard. You figure they want a defensive tackle.
Right. All right, let's go Mason Graham there for them. Number 9, you got the Saints. This is an interesting pick. Which way will they go?
Boy, I think they're taking an edge rusher. So, boy, it's like, who do you like? I know. Boy, they're all the same. I'm gonna go. It's so much because the Mike Green stuff is about his
it's about the
off the field stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going Mike Green. I'm saying Kellen learn from the Eagles. And
Yeah, I think the floor for Mike Green would be like 15 at Atlanta. I think Atlanta would take him if he fell down there. 10. You got the Bears. See, I was thinking the Bears would want either Genty or Warren, but maybe not Warren, but Genty.
both off the board for stupid Ryan Poles. So that's where I'm going, Membu. They keep building up their offensive line, which they've already done a good job. And
let's go Membu there. You got the Niners here at pick 11, Johnny Mac. I think they're going to – I think I could see Walter Nolan going there. I could see that. Jahdae Barron still out there. Campbell still out there. Loveland, Izaraku. Bunch of names still in here, Johnny Mac.
I think it's a little bit too high. There's so much range. I talked to, a guy like Shamar Stewart, who I've talked to, and all the Eagles fans are upset about it. Albert Breer had him going number 9 to New Orleans. That shows you the range of these edge rushers. San Francisco, by the way, when I talk about that Oladejo, they love him as well, along with the Eagles. That's what I've heard. But I'm going to go. That's too early. I'm going to go Will Johnson for San Francisco.
Okay. Will Johnson, the cornerback out of Michigan. We'll take them for San Francisco. The Dallas Cowboys at number 12, Johnny Mac. What are you thinking there?
Tet McMullen, baby.
Oh, man. That would be a dream for me. Tet McMullen to the Cowboys.
Yeah. I don't think that's a Will McClay pick. But that's
I know, but they already have a slot guy. I mean, what do you need Tet McMullen for?
He's not a slot guy.
I know, but still, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Tet.
I don't like the player.
I'm not huge on him. Dolphins at 13.
Dolphins are going to pick a tackle, so I'm going to go Kelvin Banks.
Kelvin Banks. Here we go. Tackle from Texas. There you go. Kelvin Banks got Indianapolis at pick 14.
Well, they're a tough one.
Yeah, they are a tough one.
I have no idea what they're.
I think they would take Colston Loveland here. That's me though, but this is for you, so I'm not going to tell you what to go.
Boy, they need an edge rusher. Boy, I'm really, yeah. Come on, give me some thought, Shane Steichen. I'm going to go Jihad Campbell there.
Ooh, okay. I like that. Actually for them. Jihad Campbell, I think he's a guy that could be an edge in the future. That's an interesting pick there. Falcons at 15.
That's where I'm going. Shamar Stevens.
Shamar Stewart.
Sorry.
Yep, you're good. Shamar Stewart. There you go. Falcons take Shamar Stewart. You got the Cardinals at pick 16. This one's actually kind of interesting. Where do you
Falcons been looking for an edge rusher for years, by the way. Cardinals, this is where the run starts. I'm gonna go edge rusher again. I'm gonna go Ezraku.
Okay, Ezraku up to the Cardinals with Josh Sweat. Pair him up in Arizona with our boy JG. Pick 17, the Cincinnati Bengals. Johnny Mac, who do you think?
I'm going to go the other Michigan kid, defensive tackle. Kenneth Grant. Yeah, they need a defensive tackle.
Yes, they do.
So that's where I think he's going to be. Yeah.
All right, number 18, Seattle Seahawks.
Boy, Seattle's a tough one too. This is I can tell the mid-range is going to be difficult for me.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, they made a lot of stuff. Obviously, the Sam Darnold at quarterback, but and moving on from DK and all that stuff. But
they could use a receiver, man. There's a couple of them still sitting.
One thing, if you watch Sam last year, they better get some offensive linemen. So if you give him time, he can. We were just talking about he could Sam Bradford, yeah. So
this is where I don't love them. Where I think you're in kind of no man's land with the offensive lineman. I like Gray Zabel. I don't know if they would take.
I'm going. That's who I'm going with. Gray Zabel.
All right, Gray's able for at 18 for the Seahawks. I don't hate it. 19, you got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Johnny Mac. What do you
They're
think?
going edge rusher. Who's left? I got to think.
Let's look.
Pierce.
I'll load 'em up.
Pierce. That's where Pierce is going.
Okay, James Pierce.
Yeah.
James Pierce taken at 19 to the Buccaneers. 20, you got the Denver Broncos. What do you got, John?
Yeah, I've heard they want to trade up, but they, maybe for Genty. So I think the other guy, Omari and Hampton, who's a legit first-round pick.
Yeah, I think he's an excellent player. Running back out of North Carolina goes to the Broncos. I like that pick there. 21, Steelers. This is an interesting one, John.
Jackson Dart.
Oh, baby. I got to filter my QB to get to him because he's so far down the 131st ranked by PFF, and they're going to take him at 21.
Now, I'll be here Thursday night spiking the football at Jackson
Dart. By
21.
PFF, he's behind Riley Leonard, behind Will Howard, behind Jalen Milroe, behind Shadur Sanders. Let's take Jackson Dart.
Jackson Dart, 21.
At 21.
That's
22.
one of the more convicted picks for me, by the way.
That's bold. 22, you got the Chargers. What do you got, John?
That's where I think Loveland goes.
Okay.
Chargers.
Loveland there to the Chargers. I like that pick. Green Bay Packers at 23.
Boy, I got to think. That's where I think corner comes into it. Or wide receiver. Boy,
Yeah.
I hate the wide receivers. So
I like Ibuka. Ibuka.
That's where I'm taking Barron.
Okay. Barron to the Packers. Lock it in.
Yeah.
All right, lock it in. Barron to the Packers. Now you got the Minnesota Vikings at pick 24.
Well, they're going to trade out, but for this, if there's any team I can guarantee that's going to trade out, it's Minnesota because they'll take anything just to get some extra picks. But since we're staying put, that's where I'd put Starks going.
Okay, Starks to the that is a Vikings pick. I could actually see that, especially with Brian Flores as their DC. So Malachi Starks, 24. At 25, you have the Texans, Johnny Mack. What do you think there?
I think
they need O-lineman, man. They
desperately, I think, need O-lineman. I think it's between the two Ohio State guys, and probably Josh Simmons goes before Donovan Jackson.
All right, so Josh Simmons here, tackle from Ohio State, goes to the Texans. LA, you got 26, Johnny Mack. What do you think?
Boy, they're a sneaky quarterback team. I'm going to go bold here. You ready for this one?
I'm ready.
Jalen Milroe.
Once you said bold, I knew it was coming. Jalen Milroe to the Rams. That's a bold pick.
Doesn't have to play. The Rams are going to draft a quarterback.
I'll be blunt with you. While it is a bold pick, I think that would be best case scenario for Jalen Milroe. No pressure year one.
I think it's a phenomenal situation.
Come in, learn the NFL, learn McVay. Yep, I agree. 100%. That is a very interesting pick there for Jalen Milroe. 27, John, you got the Baltimore Ravens. What do you think on them? Good drafting team.
They need a safety to pair with Kyle Hamilton, who's phenomenal. But that's where I got Nick Emenwari going.
Okay, Nick Emenwari. He is, where is Emenwari on here? Boy, he's down there. Let me filter by safety and go. Wow, he's ranked 67 here. Makuba, Xavier Watson, Kevin Winston, all rated higher than Emenwari by PFF, but Emenwari is getting the hype. 28, you got Detroit Lions, Johnny Mack.
Gonna go edge rusher to pair with Aiden Hutchinson. Who's next? Mikael Williams. We didn't use him, right?
Yep. No, we didn't use him. Mikael Williams from Georgia. There he is. Boom. Drafted there. On the clock, Washington Commanders at 29. What do you think?
I'm thinking corner, especially with the Eagles in the division. I've heard some
quarterback though.
Yeah, I've heard some negative stuff on Maxwell Hairston recently, so I'm going to go I'm going to go Trey Amos.
All right, Trey Amos here from Mississippi to the Commanders. Interesting pick there. The Bills at 30, Johnny Mac. What do you think?
Boy, the Bills. What do the Bills need?
Here it says edge, linebacker, cornerback.
Oh,
They don't have a defense, right?
I should have picked this guy going somewhere before this. Derek Harmon.
Walter Nolan is still sitting there, and we're 2 picks away from the Eagles. Derek Harmon, where is he?
Oh no, I didn't take Walter Nolan, right? Yeah,
No.
Walter Nolan. Yeah, not over Derek Harmon.
All right, put him there.
I just assumed I'd taken Walter. That got close. Boy, the Eagles are trading up. If this goes, and obviously I'm just doing this off the top of my head.
This isn't, you're gonna do your own mock
Yeah.
that you'll put out too. But we're just doing this on the fly.
If he falls to that in this scenario as we run through it, I think the Eagles go up and get him. But
all right, so
I'd forgotten about Walter Nolan, ironically. So yeah. He'll go 30. He'll go 30. Yeah.
All right, 30, Walter Nolan. 31, you got the Kansas City Chiefs, Johnny Mac.
Derek Harmon.
Derek Harmon there.
The run right before the Eagles.
Yep, there you go. Derek Harmon. All right, the Philadelphia Eagles are on the clock. You got Luther Burden. You got Emeka Ibuka. You got Matthew Golden, a bunch of wide receivers. You got Nick Scorton still. Benjamin Morrison, Josh Connerly, Kevin Winston, Landon Jackson. See, this is ugly. Obviously it's going to be Scorton, I think. Is that who you're going with?
Well, this is where I would try to trade down because, as you're pointing out, it's gotten ugly.
You have no trade offers according to PFF on this one, John.
No trade offers. So I'm going to go bold. Olawafemi Oladejo.
Oh, God. I got to scroll for 3 hours to find his name. Where is he at? Scroll up. Got to go to page 2. There he is, ranked 75. Oladejo at 32. Let's see, analyzers in the draft. Let's see what they give us.
Oh, they're going to give me an F for that pick.
Oops, that play isn't in our playbooks. I don't know what that means. There you go. There's the draft, the first round mock, all right, that we've done. And the Eagles end up with Femi Oladejo. John, I can't say I'm happy about this. I can't say I'm
Well,
happy.
part of it is, I want to get people. No, but they like the player. I don't think they'd take him at 32. I don't think Walter Nolan will fall to 30, even though I just did it. Should have probably picked him before.
Where would you have put him if you didn't put him at 30?
Where did I put Kenneth Grant?
17 to the Bengals.
Yeah, right there. Right there. Even though they're different types of players, they need defensive tackles. They need both types. So I should have put him there. That's where I should have put him. So
Grant fell. That'd be an interesting name for the Eagles, maybe.
I should have put him there, and then you could kind of swap. You kick Derek Harmon up one, kind of swap Walter Nolan with Kenneth Grant.
Right.
Is what I should have done, but I was doing it off the top of my head. So
no picks here too surprising to me outside of maybe
Milrow.
Milrow was a surprise. Though I know you're telling me you have some information that people like Jackson Dart. It still feels off to me. Okay, I don't.
There's a lot of groupthink.
Yeah,
a lot of groupthink, and you've been. It's not your fault. Everybody has been.
I watched him play at SEC, man, at Mississippi. He was a good player, but I just didn't see him as a first round.
I don't see him as a first round pick. I'm just saying there's certain guys the NFL likes more than you've been led to believe. He's one of them. Tyler Shuck's one of them. At quarterback, Oladejo's one of them at edge rusher. I don't like him. I wouldn't pick it.
Yeah.
If he goes in the first round, wouldn't shock me at all. Oladejo. Wouldn't shock me at all from what I've been hearing.
I would shock me. I won't lie to you. I was thinking second round on him, maybe even if the board doesn't go his way, falling down to the
early in the process, I said I wouldn't even consider him until the third round.
Yeah, right. That's what I was thinking.
But, well, probably because you were listening to me, but probably. But that's because and I said at the time, though, I think he's going to go in the second round because of his upside.
Right.
But I wouldn't take him, and I wouldn't take him. But from everything I heard, the Eagles like him a lot, and that's the edge rushers are crazy because you could have just trying to pull them up because I want to get all the names. So obviously Carter Green could be top 10 into the 30s. Ezaraku could be 15 to 32. Pierce 15 to 32. Scorton probably a little bit lower. Stewart, I could see that guy going top 10. I could see him going in the second round.
Yeah, so I agree.
Williams, I think he's more of of all the guys, I would say he's pretty concrete. Him and Scorton, they're probably going to go 25 to, well, Williams can go probably a little bit higher than that. So say 20 to 40. But they're all over. It depends. As Howie says, that's a favorite flavor scenario. So who do you like? And some teams are going to like some teams are going to like that one flavor, and some teams are going to like another flavor.
Right.
But a lot of talented guys.
Good stuff.
And I wouldn't be upset if you're the Eagles if you got any of them, with the exception of Oladejo. It's just because I think he's such a project, and you already have a project on hand, a pretty good one.
Yeah, I would be very unhappy if they took Femi Oladejo at pick 32. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, I don't think it's going to happen. Here's how I'll put it down. Just as we're doing this exercise, trade up Walter Nolan. 32, you hope Stewart's the guy that falls. And trade down early second round, early to mid second round. Oladejo. So I think he's more likely a trade down candidate, but I very much believe that the Eagles like the player a lot.
Yeah. The problem is you're going to have to get another guy to tango to move down. I don't know if the Eagles are going to be able to do that or not. We will see what ends up happening, but good exercise there, Johnny Mac. Tomorrow we'll put up your you doing your mock draft, right? I'm doing my mock draft today. So I'm
doing my Eagles only mock draft today, and then the first round it'll be out Wednesday.
All right, so we'll
do before the draft.
Tomorrow in the show. Then we'll do your Eagles only, and then we'll talk to Mike Gill, hopefully Mike Gill and BLG tomorrow in the show as well. Appreciate everybody tuning in today. Johnny Mac, your final thoughts on this Tuesday edition of Birds 365. We are now 58 hours away from the NFL draft.
A lot of uncertainty, man. Going through that exercise, a lot of uncertainty.
Yep. You see how much uncertainty it is, too, when the board starts to go. You're like, holy shit, I don't know who to take here. I mean, this is a very interesting draft from that perspective. It's not as clear-cut. Most aren't, but, some are a little more than others. This one is definitely on the lower end of clear-cutness, if that makes sense. Yeah. But good stuff, John.
Yep. And remember, the Eagles are at the mercy of others. So, when you pick that low, there's a lot of moving parts.
You do get my logic, though, of why I've been saying, like, trading up 6 spots makes sense, just because I feel like you're going to have a better chance at one of those guys, either Nolan, Pierce, Shamar, whoever you like, whoever the Eagles like.
It depends. Like, if you believe the conventional thinking, and the Eagles could think differently, but the thought is probably not, because everybody says 20 to 15 is similar. 20 to 50 or so.
Yeah, right.
So, you got to go way up to get into that group. But like last year with like Walter Nolan's the one guy who's probably in the top 15 group for the Eagles. So if he falls, like he just fell, but that's because I forgot about him. So that's my fault. Interesting.
I should have told you. I thought you were looking at the list of names of guys that were.
Well, I was, and I just
Yeah,
I've been talking about him the entire freaking show.
I was laughing. We're at like 25. I'm like,
Yeah.
Nolan's still here. 28. Nolan's still here.
Well, I'm glad you pointed out because I thought I said him.
Yeah, that's all
But
good.
again, I'm doing it off the cuff. But
I'm gonna do one with the chat now too. I'll do one with the chat. We'll do a round one or we'll do an Eagles one, but I'm gonna do one with the chat now as well. And then we'll put up our Eagles only mocks tomorrow. And then obviously close it out with full mock as well. So Johnny Mac, great stuff, brother. Couple days out here on this draft.
All right, we're getting closer. Thanks, everybody. Got to get to work.
Keep going strong. All right, John. Thank you, brother.
All right, see ya.
All right, there's Johnny Mac. John McMullen, the number one Eagles beat reporter in town. Give him a follow at JF McMullen for all of your Eagles needs over on social media. So well done by Johnny Mac here today. Well done on everybody in the chat. Appreciate it. Oh, shit. I missed some freaking supers, didn't I? My bad, Crow Server and JH. I apologize. He says, J-Mac, Ty Robinson, DT OKU at 92. Your thoughts? OKU? I thought he was a Nebraska guy. I don't think Ty Robinson's OKU, Crow. I don't know if you meant that. I don't know if I'm reading that wrong, but he's a Nebraska guy. I actually like him, but I like him a little later than that. 92 is a little early for him, I'd say. A little early for him. I would say closer to that 130 range maybe. But again, I'm not a draft expert. I'm not going to try and be a draft expert. I'm not going to tell you I'm a draft expert. I'm going to look at the players I like, tell you who I like, and we'll see where they're drafted. All right, that's how it works. All right, I do want to do the exercise, though, with you guys. I think it's pretty fun, honestly. I think it's a pretty fun exercise. So let's do I think that's a great idea, Siglord. An annual JAKIB Members Awards show. I like that. What can we do? You got to give me some awards, all right? And I'll do it. I would love to do that, Siglord. That'd be fun. Add some spice to the content. All right. All right, let's go back. Let's go back to the draft. Let's go to the simulator. Do you guys want to do a simulator or do you not want to do a simulator? The chat is dead. It's dead. Yeah, I hated that pick by John, but for the Niners. I don't think they're taking him. I could see the Niners taking Walter Nolan. All right, what do you want to do? Do you want to do round one like me and John just did, or do you want to do the full 7 for the Eagles and just do the Eagles picks? Put in the chat. Round one or Eagles? Round one or Eagles? Round one or Eagles? What do you want? Do we want to do the round one or do we want to do the Eagles? 7-round Eagles, 2 rounds. First round. Run it. Whole thing, bro. We're not doing a whole thing. Stop, Rich. You crazy? We'll be here till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I agree, Don. Don, this is actually exactly what I'm thinking, Don. Don puts up. Zander, I really think we trade up with the Vikings and take Nolan if he's still there. I agree. I could see that. All right, let's do the Eagles one first because you can do it really quick. We'll go turbo. We'll go Eagles. We'll do enter. Remember, we're at the mercy of PFF. Like whoever the simulator picks is, we have to see who's left. Let's do it though. All right. Start. All right. See, why does Walter Nolan keep falling? We got to fix this because he's not going to fall to 32. Maybe he will. 32. We'll do randomness, positional value. Let's bump it up a little bit. Let's go this maybe up a little bit. This up a little bit. 7 turbo. All right. I don't. If Walter Nolan's there again, we'll take him. I mean, I don't know. I think that's crazy. He's there again. I don't know what's going on because I did this thing 10 times yesterday. Walter Nolan wasn't there once. Now he's there every time. I mean, this is why this crap is a crapshoot. All right. Walter Nolan's available. James Pierce is available. Nick Scorton's available. Who do you like, folks? You taking James Pierce? Are you taking Walter Nolan? Are you taking Nick Scorton? What are we thinking? What are we thinking, chat? If it were me, I'd take Walter Nolan here. I would take Walter Nolan here. Starks, he's gone. Nolan easy. Nolan. Pumper says Pierce, which means you should definitely take Nolan. Chris Scott says Nolan, easy pick. All right, I'm with the majority. Walter Nolan at 32. Let's see where we go. 64. All right, this is where it gets ugly immediately for the Eagles because you're in the back of the rounds. All right, so you missed out on Hairston. You missed out on Tyleek, Landon Jackson, Tyler Booker, Benjamin Morrison, James Pierce, Nick Scorton. All these guys are now gone. Okay? Oladejo went at 63. At 64, we are looking at Elijah Arroyo, Andrew Makuba. Who do you think? Any of these guys? Xavier Restrepo, Shamar Turner. I mean, holy crap. Marcus Embo, Elijah Roberts. I mean, we already took a defensive interior player. We need an edge rusher, don't we? This is why, for all the people who say, forget edge rushers, you can get them anywhere. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. You can't get edge rushers anywhere. We're now drafting Makuba in round 2 because there's not an edge to be found anywhere. You want Kyle Kennard? Is that who you want, Eagle fans? Come on, man. Trade up, Z. Zander a hater. You're right, Pumper. I am a hater, and I don't care. Is it Makuba? Is that who we're taking? Tate Rutledge? Good night. This guy's got me taking Tate Rutledge. Tate Ratledge. Guard from Georgia. Talk about an ugly pick. Mason Taylor. Is he available? I'll take him. I'll take him. Tell me Mason Taylor's still here. He's probably not. He's not. He's off the board. He's off the board. This is trash. This is literally okay, this exercise will be the worst case scenario for the Philadelphia Eagles is this. All right, I guess it's not. You got Nolan in round 1, so it's not worst case scenario, but holy crap. Do you want Elijah Arroyo? Makuba. It's Makuba. Holy crap. Thomas Fadone. Oh, man. How do I get back to all, man? Get rid of him. All. Here we go. All right, we're taking Makuba. Andrew Makuba. Here we go. 96. Who do we got? Let's see who's been taken since Makuba. Rutledge is gone. Harvey, gone. Arroyo, gone. Jackson Dart goes in round 3 in this mock. Shamar Turner, gone. Kennard, gone. Milroad in round 3 in this mock. Gone. Oh, boy. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. Oh, a brother. Who do we want, guys? Round 3. Elijah Roberts. He was in on a top 30 visit. Jack Sawyer's still here. I think we could take him. Oh, Anthony Belton. I like Belton. Do we want to take Anthony Belton? I'm between Jack Sawyer and Anthony Belton. Definitely not Harold Fannin, that's for sure. Jacob Parrish is there. Oh, brother. This is ugly round 2 for the Birds. Ferguson or Sawyer? Where is Ferguson? Is he even still on here? Why do you guys keep saying Ferguson? Am I missing something? Where the hell is Ferguson? You guys aren't reaching for Ferguson, are we? No wonder you guys aren't GMs. You guys stink. You guys absolutely stink. I'm going to take Anthony Belton. Anthony Belton it is. It's Belton, folks. All right, here we go. We're on the board at 134. You got Jalen Reed. You got Justin Wall. Remember, these are guys that have been in on top 30 visits. All 3 of these guys. Jalen Reed, Justin Wally, and Jaden Blue. All right. Pumper will probably want Riley Leonard. You got Miles Frazier there, the guard. You got Dylan Fairchild. He was in on a top 30 visit. All right. He was in. Boy, I think it's one of those guys at the top here. I think it's Jalen Reed, Wally, Jaden Blue, or Dylan Fairchild. Who do we like? Who do we like? Who do we like? You guys are Brian. This is a Brian Pumper draft. This is the worst draft I've ever seen in my life. Who do we got? Our picks so far are Nolan, Makuba, and Belton. Are you kidding me, folks? This is absolute tragic. Fedone, tight end. We can get him later. We don't need to take Fedone right now. This is awful. This is literally awful. Jalen Reed's going to be a bust at 134. I would not take him here. But I agree. He's probably the guy to take. We already took a safety. We got another safety. We didn't take a corner yet. We didn't even take an edge rusher yet. Guys, we might need a restart. This is absolutely tragic. And this is your list of edge rushers remaining. This is not possible. If this happens to the Eagles, we're toast. Hang them up. Hang them up. Get them out of here. I'm with you, Jason. Get them out of here. Holy crap. Ahmad Hassanain, is that who you want? Boise State edge? All right, I'll take him. I think you're right because I need an edge rusher. This is terrible. This is one of the worst drafts you'll ever see in your life. All right, 161. You going tight end, Mitchell Evans? I think so. I'm going to tweet this draft out and say, my viewers, I thought they were smart. They're dumb. I'm just kidding. I know. It's mostly PFF. This is one of the worst drafts I've ever seen in my life. All right, we're at 164. Who do we got? We got one edge rusher, and he's at a Boise State. This is tragic. This is truly tragic. Jalen Travis, Kyle McCord, Thomas Fedone. Oh, my God. We need a cornerback. Bro, this is awful. This is trash. I'm about to restart this. This is so bad. There's no way the board falls this unfriendly to the Eagles, does it? Holy shnikes. Oh, my. We're taking a Western Michigan cornerback, folks. Quincy Riley. We already took a tackle, a safety, an edge, a tight end. We need a corner. And we got 3 of the next 5 picks. So the names that we're looking at, you might as well pick 3 of them. We need a reboot. All right, let's do a reboot. I'm rebooting. This is tragic. We didn't even finish it. It was so bad. 32. Let's go a little bit higher on care for positional value. Let's go. Keep that the same. Let's do 7 rounds. Turbo speed. Start the draft. Why does Walter keep falling here? Same guys. See, it was weird. I did this last night. I probably did it 10 times last night, and it was so different. Every time. Z, I was shouting Jack Sawyer from the rooftops. Jay, I'm not huge on him. I like him, but I'm not huge on him. All right, I guess Walter Nolan again, right? If he's 32, you got to take him. He's 32, you got to take him. Let's take Nolan there. Damn it. I was hoping what's his name was available. Is Mason Taylor here? Where are you, Mason? I know Mason's still here. What? Is he not here again? Where did he go? Am I tripping? Where is this guy? Did he go round 1? Where is Mason Taylor? He's not here. There he is. 49 he went. Ugh. Another yuck. Check out corner here. Look at some corners. Jacob Parrish, he was in on a visit. Kobe Bryant's not bad. Justin Wally came in, but you're reaching severely for him here. We're at 64, dude. You're supposed to get a player at 64 here. I think it's Makuba again. Femi Oladejo. It's got to be Femi, right? Femi. We're taking Femi. We're taking Femi. Femi Oladejo. A Femi Oladejo. All right, we got Walter Nolan and Femi. We need to say, a tackle. Charles Grant. I like him. I like Charles Grant. Elijah Roberts. We could use a safety or a corner. Give me Charles Grant. Give me Charles Grant there. I like him. High upside player. Safety. I like Jalen Reed here. I could take Jalen Reed here. Or Dylan Fairchild. Give me Jalen Reed here. We'll take a guard soon. Fairchild's gone. Tyler Barham was the edge. He was in on a visit. Holy crap. You see what I mean? Where if Howie... See, everybody, this is exactly why I've been calling for Howie to trade up. Because if the board doesn't fall the Eagles' way in this draft, it's going to be tragic. It's going to be tragic. Let's take Fedone here. You got a safety, we got a tackle, we got an edge, we got an interior D-line guy. We could use a cornerback. Again, we're in no man's land with cornerbacks. See, my best scenario for cornerback in this draft is if Benjamin Morrison falls to 64. I would snipe him at 64. I don't know if he'll be there, but I would take him. Where's the one I saved? Yeah, see, this was my best draft so far. All right, I'm getting out of this. This is literally tragic. This didn't work at all, folks. Look, this was my best draft last night. All right. Walter Nolan fell to 32. I took him. Benjamin Morrison fell to 64. I took him. Oladejo fell in round 3. I took him there. Jalen Reed, I took it in round 4, and they gave me an F for it. Dylan Fairchild, I took in round 5. Isaac Tesla, which I'm not really a big fan of, but he was the best option there. I took Trevor Etienne, and then I took Ty Robinson from Nebraska. That was my best draft so far. That would be a good draft, in my opinion. If you get Nolan, Morrison, Oladejo, Reed, Fairchild, Tesla, Etienne, and Robinson. There you go. That's the one I saved last night. No O-line until round 5. I agree. Daz, the problem is it just has to work, dude. Like, where do you think they're going to take a round 5? Because the other one I did, I had him taking Belton in round 3 over Oladejo, but Oladejo fell here, and I'm like, they need an edge. We lost 2 edge rushers. We still have an offensive line, Daz. We have 4 of them under contract through 2027. I mean, I hear you. We need an O-lineman, but, I mean, Daz, run through this with me. 4 of them are under contract through 2027 at least. Then you have Kendall Lamb. You have Matt Pryor. You have Tyler Steen. You have the dude they drafted from Michigan last year. What was that guy's name? Trevor Keegan. How many effing offensive linemen do we need? Have to move up and get 2 second rounders. Yeah, well, that's going to be easy. Harder than it looks there, Daz. Harder than it looks. Stoutland always wins. Yeah, but Daz, with that take, then you don't need to draft an offensive lineman. They got 5 bodies. Got 5 bodies. I think this is a good draft right here. I do. I think this is a good draft. It tells me it's what, top 20% or something? Top 22% of Eagles drafts. The only one I failed on was Jalen Reed, and I only took him because by the way, I'm not a Penn State guy. I only took him because the Eagles brought him in on a visit. Fucking guy cost me. I would have been a top 10% draft right here. Stupid Penn State. Strikes again. What do you know? Penn State. Can y'all do anything right? Freaking Penn State. I don't know how either. I guess they wanted them in the 5th. I'm not sure. I think Ty Robinson's a great pick there in round 5. I don't know if he'll be there, but I don't hate Tesla there. I mean, they gave me an A+ for him. I don't know why, but they did. They did. So this was the draft idea. This was the one I was gonna use, but I'm probably gonna do a bunch more of these today and see. Now let's finish this out, though. Let's finish this out. All right, we got a couple picks left. We already took a safety. We got a tackle. I got Charles Grant here in round 3, Oladejo in round 2. This is a terrible draft already, I can tell you this. This one will not come back as good. I promise you that. I already took an offensive lineman. We need a cornerback here, but there's absolutely no cornerbacks left. I mean, Bilal Cone, I've never heard that name in my life. Oh, God. I got to pass on corners, guys. I can't do it. Should we take Will Howard? That could be a 5th on Will Howard. Trade, what's his name? I like Will Howard over Gabriel. How about a running back? Running back. Who do we like here? Jeez. Kyle Mung. I like him, but I thought he was going to be an undrafted free agent, the Rutgers guy. I don't think he's there, Abe. He's gone, bro. Yeah, he's gone, Abe. Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. My bad. Thank you, Daz. All right, here. This is where we are. We got Nolan, Oladejo, Charles Grant, Jalen Reed, Fedone, Will Howard. I mean, trash draft. Again, trash. But who do we want? I should have taken Kyle McCord over Will Howard. Screw Will Howard. Malachi Moore at safety. We already took a safety. Jalen Reed, they'll probably give me another F on that pick. Kobe King. Let's take Kobe King. Eagles brought him on a visit. Jalen Travis is interesting. He was in on a visit. I don't think they're going to take 2 offensive linemen here. They really need a cornerback, but they're not taking one of these bums. Running back, I'd say, but there are a bunch of bums there, too. Holy shit. I guess the 5th round is filled with bums no matter where you are. Tyler Barron, I agree. Take him. Call it a day. This is going to be a terrible draft. Watch. Let's see what they give us. Wow, they didn't like my pick of Oladejo in the 2nd round. Top 39%, a B+ draft. How the hell on the other draft they give me an F for Jalen Reed at the same spot. Now they give me a B. What a joke. This whole thing is a sham. It's a sham. This is such a not I know, Kenzo. Awful. Kicker. All right, I'm getting out of here. I appreciate it. I wanted to just do that with you guys, see what you guys thought. I don't know. Yeah, PFF was way off there. I liked my draft a lot better yesterday. I thought it was more realistic too. Oladejo in the 3rd. I thought that made sense. But anyway, I digress. Great show today. We'll be live with you tomorrow. I will put out my Eagles only mock, and I'll do a full 1st round mock as well. I don't love doing them, but I will do it. I know people want me to do it, so I'll do one of those. And we'll talk to you guys tomorrow on Birds 365. Appreciate it. You see why Howie's got to be on his best game, because if the board doesn't fall your way, you're not going to leave many good players here. So the Eagles got to handle business, move up if they need to, shake and bake, do whatever they got to do to get the right players. But appreciate all you guys being here. Hit that like button, and I'll see you next time on Birds 365.
You've been listening to Birds 365, the destination for the passionate Eagles football fan who bleeds green. If it's Eagles football, we're talking about it. Debate inside the locker room and guests that are some of the greatest football minds from around the region. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on social media at JAKIB Sports. See you next time on Birds 365.